So the Lamentation Cube, you guys, and for those who don't know, the puzzle box from Hellraiser, it kind of looks like a little music box. If it were to play a song as you solve the puzzle, what song would it be? And understand, it's not going to have lyrics. It's just like the little music box chimes.
Okay, I got two for you.
All right, lay 'em on me.
The haunting theme of Why Can't We Be Friends?
Classic.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, and I think this one's actually even more relevant.
From War.
Yes.
The band War, okay.
Highway to the Danger Zone. Because that is what is about to happen when you fuck with that cube.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know lyrics was not a part of it, so mine definitely have lyrics. So I'm going to tell you my answers anyway. It's going to be a rendition of Ramones' Pinhead sung by Doug Bradley, and it will go, I don't want to be a pinhead no more. This time the pinhead is a girl.
D-U-M-B, everyone's accusing me.
Ooh.
Did you get it?
No, I got it.
It's like a meta.
It's not good, butthead, but I got it.
Or how about Hello Darkness by Paul Simon?
Oh, that one's good.
That's my,
That'd be creepy.
that was my real answer, but I just wanted to really, parody, do my best Weird Al with the lyrics of
Hit
the
a home
Ramones
run, bro.
song.
Well, Weird Al is officially no longer subscribed to the podcast.
Come back, Al.
Yeah. So I went a little on the nose, my first choice, and it was Born to Raise Hell by Cheap Trick.
Okay.
So it's got that nice little like drum and like, bass guitar, riff thing. That'd be kind of nice.
Now, why not Born to Raise Hell by Motorhead?
Because it's music box, man. It's got to be kind of like a catchy little theme.
Okay.
What about
Motorhead's a lot of
Highway to
noise.
Hell?
That's AC/DC.
That one's actually got some good pickup, though.
Yeah.
It's recognizable, but no. Born to Raise Hell by Cheap Trick. But if we can't do that, Buttered Up by Young Gravy. Why not? So,
Okay.
No, just kidding. No, definitely Born to Raise Hell by Cheap Trick. I think it'd be a cool one.
Or just really on the nose, Hellraiser by Motorhead. Hellraiser.
I don't think you understand how Motorhead's going to translate to like little pinging chimes in a music box.
There, John just did it.
What
It
he
just
said,
chimes all of them at one time and like Motorhead. That's all it says.
Right.
be the movie's own theme at that point. If we really wanted to be on the nose here.
Just be, it was one of them sad piano tunes, like the Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah.
Or something really classy for this Hellraiser movie.
The graduation
I
song.
guarantee you that's been floated in a pitch meeting at some point. What if it had Moonlight Sonata in this movie? Like, get fucked. Welcome back to the GraveTalk podcast. We're here to talk about Hellraiser 2022 with Mark and John. As always, I'm Garrett. Fellas, Hellraiser 2022. But before we get into that, what have you been up to?
Oh, so much.
You've been out sick.
Yes, I used that time to watch, I believe, 18 horror movies so far. This
Leprechaun 1 through 18.
loved it. Close. I watched all 6 Wrong Turns, so keep your ears open for a quickie on that. I watched every Halloween from 4 till Halloween Ends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why'd you start with the bad ones?
Well,
That's what came in the box set.
yeah, so I did get 5 and H2O and Resurrection in a box set, and then I watched 4 because you got to watch 4 if you're going to watch 5.
No, you hadn't seen it last time when we watched 6 for the
That's
worst
true.
in show, right?
Yeah, I hadn't.
So thoughts on it real quick?
He hadn't failed. Boom.
Ooh. 4, okay. 5, 6, H2O, awesome. Resurrection, better than I remembered, to be honest. And I really loved Busta Rhymes just doing Bustafoo on Halloween on Michael Myers. So that movie, I mean, it was a very stupid retcon they did to make it possible, but honestly, it was kind of better than I thought it was.
Okay, well, that leads into Halloween Ends that you didn't get to record with us. Do you want
Yes.
to give us your quick thoughts on that one?
I do. So strap in for about 7 hours. I got a lot to say, y'all.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, if you got a belt buckle, now would be the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be quick.
Is that for the heroin or to hang myself?
After watching this movie, you'll probably want to do both.
So you like this, what you're telling us.
I did not like this Halloween at all. I thought it was very self-indulgent, and I will never... So spoilers for Halloween, because I can't really talk about why I didn't like it without spoiling it.
The episode's already out. You could spoil it.
Look, people listen to things in random order. I don't know. I'm just trying to be polite because
That's
that
fair
I'm going to spoil it immediately. I'm surprised I made it this far, to be honest.
I believe we made jokes about you spoiling it in the episode.
So it's bonkers to me to make a Halloween movie that barely involves Michael Myers. I will never forgive them for punking him out and getting his ass kicked by like a dweeb to get his mask stolen. I get it. He's all weakened and he's like a troll hobgoblin, Michael Myers. He lives under a bridge. I understand. Stupid.
A dweeb who was beaten up by band geeks.
Right.
Yes, I know. Even lower than band geeks came down there and just whipped the shit out of Michael Myers and stole his mask. Unforgivable. I do agree. It is like that Friday the 13th where they tried to make a new Jason. So Mark totally echoed my thoughts there. And obviously it didn't work then. It doesn't work now. And it further drives home that Halloween Kills was a totally unnecessary film because this movie, like y'all said, could have just followed the first Halloween and would have maybe made a little bit more sense. And then, they could have done like a closing act after they didn't like monster mash Michael Myers in that masher there. And I didn't like what they did with Laurie Strode. That was a huge disappointment. They turned her into a completely different character. Now she's like Susie Q Homemaker. She's burning pies and doing Sex in the City voiceovers when she knows that her arch enemy is just missing, MIA, after he killed half the fucking town of Haddingfield.
I think these are all valid points. Now, I did a little bit of digging around thoughts on the movie after we recorded ours because I don't like to have my opinion influence before we record. Some folks are saying that what we were witnessing was that it was the transference from evil Michael into Corey as the new vessel. So that was kind of why he was never at 100% because it was already transferring into Corey.
Like a mind meld situation. That's what I thought of when they did that weird thing that they did.
So his gas tank was full, but he gave half that gas to Corey.
Right.
So he's only working with half a tank.
So does that work a little better for you from that angle?
No.
No.
Look, I get it. People are like, oh, this is the 50th Halloween movie. Do you want the same thing? Yes. Yes, I do. I want Michael Myers to kill people in my Halloween movie. I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't go to McDonald's and I'm like, oh, I've had burgers every time I come to McDonald's. Are you going to give me a fucking taco today? Can I have a McTaco, please?
That's why they got nugs, bro.
Yeah. Like, look, you know what you're getting.
The McChicken sandwich.
When you go to McDonald's, you have a
the
menu.
Fish fillet, the McRib. McDonald's, get at us.
Halloween 3 is the McRib of the Halloween franchise.
You have a menu. You know what you're getting.
It only comes around every now and then, but the people who love it fucking love it.
Exactly.
My point is you're getting
That's a shirt right there.
My point is you're getting what you know, what you expect. They're not trying to fuck up your expectations. When you go into a Halloween movie, there are certain expectations, and I don't think it's unreasonable to expect the title character to be involved.
I'm not saying anything you said is unreasonable. I understand your points. I think they're totally 100% valid, but you didn't seem like that big of a Myers Halloween fan.
Oh no, I hate it. It's like the worst of the major franchises.
Okay.
But if you're gonna make
Wait a minute, what?
Okay, if you look at your hit to miss rate.
Okay, no, we don't need to get into this, but I did not know you thought it was the worst of all of them.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me walk that back a little bit. Of the Myers, Freddy, Jason, pantheon, obviously the movie we're about to discuss is part of the worst franchise if you just go by hits.
Whoa, John coming out hot today.
I'm talking.
Do you still have a fever?
No, thankfully.
He's not wrong though. Hellraiser's been mostly missing.
No, I know. Ever since 3.
Yes,
Right.
when you come up to bat and every time you're striking out.
Well, to be fair though, remember the Hellraiser scripts were not Hellraiser stories. They were like other movies, and they just added Cenobites in them to make
Right,
them. So that's
exactly.
like basically coming up to bat, but you got like the guy who sells peanuts. Like, you're up, Ton. And he's like, what the fuck?
So
Oh yeah, the dad that's always yelling at the ball games at his kid. Why don't you get in here and
yes,
fucking hit the ball?
That's pretty much it. Or it's like
Janitor Dave, you're up at bat. Please come to the front.
So those are my thoughts. I'm not a big fan
Well,
of it.
finish your thought. You didn't finish your last thought about the Pantheon. And
Oh, yes,
why,
this is the weakest of the
me being surprised that you're this, like, I can't believe Michael's not in this kind of.
Well, I'm upset about it for 2 reasons. One, while it is the weakest of the Pantheon, the guy or the thing is a staple. It is important to treat it with respect-ish, and I don't think it did that. And 2, this guy's going to turn around now and go fuck around with The Exorcist. And I went from excited to very worried.
You're right. David Gordon Green is set to do Exorcist, and David Gordon Green is attached to that HBO Hellraiser show they're still working on, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything in like a year and a half on it, but yeah.
I thought they got canceled for the movie.
They were side by side simultaneously being developed. So who knows? But yeah.
Genius.
So now I'm concerned, and I don't want to be concerned about what is, to me, like my all-time most important horror film. So
That's fair. Well,
now that I vented, I feel much better. I think I'm done. I don't even need to be on the rest of the podcast. I said my
He's
piece.
like, I'm sick again. I'm going home.
I didn't watch any more Halloweens, but I did want to rewatch Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. So I did
Great.
just that. I hadn't seen it in 20 years. And I was like, I remember really liking that one in the movie theater. And I like, oh yeah, that's the one where what's his name is the Headless Horseman.
Did you remember Christopher Walken? Was
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Christopher
Every
Walken.
time I watch that movie, I always forget that he's the Headless Horseman. I'm like, oh yeah, Christopher Walken. That's cool.
Oh, that reminds me. Also, y'all did make a "Don't Fear the You Need More Cowbell" joke at the end of your Halloween Ends episode, and I was like, oh, I wish I were there because they played "Don't Fear the Reaper."
Oh, did they?
Yes, that
Yeah,
was the
it
credit
was one of the
song,
credit
which is
songs.
also the
Oh, you're
Need
right.
More Cowbell theme, and that was my very last
Well,
note.
let's be honest. The lowest hanging fruit often isn't the best tasting. So maybe that's why we skipped it, John.
No, it's because y'all didn't think about it.
You're right. We didn't. Sleepy Hollow, still a good movie. Johnny Depp's performance is so odd in that movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's almost prim and proper, but then he's also nervous and scared, which I guess was the Ichabod Crane in the at least the Disney cartoon is the one I'm most familiar with.
Yeah, same.
I never read the story or anything, but yeah, I love it. You know, he's out there trying to deduce who's killing. Oh, it must be a man of flesh, not some hell beast from below. And it turns out it's both.
Yeah, I love the atmosphere of that film. It's like such a great Halloween, like
So creepy.
smoky,
So
or
creepy.
foggy, I guess. But
It's a good one. If you haven't revisited it in a long time, check out Sleepy Hollow. I recommend it. Garrett, anything?
I finally saw Crimes of the Future. In the words of Marlon and Damon Wayans, hated it. From my men's on film.
It's nonsense.
Oh my god,
It's all nonsense.
This is how I feel about Cronenberg. It's like sometimes like, dude, you got a crazy cool idea, and then it's like, what the fuck are you doing with it? There was some really cool visual stuff. Now, you know what? Cronenberg doing a Hellraiser film might be pretty fucking rad.
yes, yeah, that'd be a
You
good
know,
crossover.
I'd be into that.
Maybe just don't let him do his own projects. Give him a script and be like, here, Cronenberg this up. I don't know. Crimes of the Future was okay. I liked some of the themes that they were going with, but God, if the execution wasn't just rough.
But you got to say, at least that movie gave us Aragorn, Return of the King, shaking in a baby chair made of bones while he eats his pudding.
I laughed my
Such a
ass off
great-
when that came on screen. I was just like, someone out there like, this is a dark comedy. I'm like, no, this is just a dumb choice is what this is.
So ridiculous. Yeah, and it goes nowhere. There's so much going on, and then it's just like, and we're done. You're like, huh. Okay, then.
Yeah, it reminded me of like if Dario Argento and Cronenberg like made a movie together, because it just kind of like ends and you're like, okay, I guess we're done with this now, aren't we?
I have one other movie I want to shout out real quick, really fast, just because as an exorcist, I need to mention these things.
Hot to Trot with Bobcat Goldthwait.
My best friend's exorcism. 2 thumbs
You
up.
watched it?
Yes, actually
Okay.
pretty enjoyable. I really did like that one.
One of our coworkers has a real problem with it. He says the book was really good and he did not like the movie at all.
I never read the
maybe,
book.
Maybe we'll get him on to like talk about like, you know, the book or something like that. But it's like a short story or maybe it's a book. I don't know.
I went in blind. Like I didn't know it was a book until after I watched the movie, and I thought it was fun.
Is
a
it
fun
more
movie.
fun or is it more kind of like scary?
Oh, it's definitely much more fun. Like almost
Tucker Dale?
horror comedy.
Okay.
Not quite Tucker Dale level, but much more in that
stories
vein.
to tell in the dark level.
Okay.
Yeah, much more comedy than
Entry-level
scary.
horror? Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Also, there's been some big news in gaming. Silent Hill 2 remake coming to PS5 for all
Right.
you horror nerds out there that like to play video games. Callisto Experiment, is that what it's called?
Callisto Protocol.
Callisto Protocol, Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4, Dead Space remake. Man, we're getting some good horror games. So,
Right.
reminder, we'll be doing Twitch streaming after the Horror for the Holidays event in November. So, look forward to that. We've got some cool games and some pretty scary stuff lined up for that. So, but man, yeah, it's pretty cool to see, you know, horror games coming back again.
4 Silent Hill games and 1 remake.
I'm going to say maybe too much Silent Hill, but
We'll see. They barely showed anything, so it's still up in the air.
Hill doesn't seem that silent with 4 games.
and a movie, a movie of 2,
Return to Silent Hill, directed by the guy that did the first movie.
Okay, I'm excited about
which
that.
I'm
though.
okay with. Again, he didn't do a bad job. The script was trash, but he didn't do a bad job of directing it.
Let's move on from that. Let's talk about a reboot of a franchise that has a troubled history, Hellraiser.
But to say, you could say like 9 different things that just happened this year.
True. Hellraiser 2022. This one is directed by David Bruckner.
AKA Lady Pinhead.
Lady Pinhead. You think she's okay being called Pinhead?
Fuck, I hope so. Man, she was rad in this.
Yes.
I don't even know who
nailed
the
it.
actress is. I didn't look up any names. I did zero research for this fucking
Got
thing.
them all
but-
right here
sweet.
for you.
Take us home, Mark.
Like I said, this one was directed by David Bruckner. We know him from such things as VHS in 2012. He did The Ritual. He did a couple episodes of The Creep Show. He did The Night House, which I thought was pretty good.
Holy shit, that movie. Wait, is that the one with the secret house?
Yeah.
Okay, that movie had a scene in it that fucked me up.
Yeah. So
The Ritual was awesome as well.
Yes,
if y'all
that
haven't
was a
seen
good
it,
one.
you should.
that's the one where the group of guys go out in the woods and end up in that house with all the witch imagery and shit.
That's the one.
Yeah. Good stuff.
With the totem at the end. Yeah, that's... Woo.
So if you ask me, Bruckner's knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
This one stars
Toby Keith, Mariah Carey, Reba McEntire, Dolly Parton.
Is it 2002? What's happening right now?
It's a Southern Hail Raise. Come on down.
With special guest George Strait.
With the stars of Hee Haw. No, this one has Odessa A. Zion as Riley, Jamie Clayton as the priest. That's our Pinhead. Adam Faison as Colin, Drew Starkey as Trevor, Brandon Flynn as Matt, Aofi Hines as Nora, Jason Lyles as the Chatterer, Yinka Olorunif as the Weeper, Selena Lowe as the Gasp, Zachary Hing as the Affix, Kit Clark as Joey, Goran Visnik as Voight, and Hiem Abbas as Menaker. I think that'll probably do it. There's a couple of other, I guess, should I name the rest of the Cenobites?
You didn't have to name it. I got fake names for all the Cenobites here because I didn't know they actually had names.
Yeah, I know Chatterer and Pinhead, and that's it.
I've got Wheezy Boy, I've got Labia Neck, I've got Chatterer 2.0, I got Cheek Flaps Tony, and Sexy Lady Pinhead.
Okay, those are pretty good.
Those are the new Cenobite names.
What was your name for the lung lady?
Oh, Wheezy.
Oh, that's just Wheezy. Wheezy!
Wheezy F baby.
We're moving on up. There's a big mansion over there that Voight owns.
Let's just get this out of the way. The new Cenobite designs, fucking amazing.
Aces. So
No.
impressive.
Follow-up question. Would you or would you not fuck a Cenobite?
Oh boy. Now am I married?
No.
Okay,
This
single.
is all single
Pre-marriage,
monster fucking guys.
okay.
Come on.
Whew, but the thing
You've
is,
been given a pass. This is your one hall pass. Which Cenobite would you fuck?
too many open wounds is the problem.
Yeah.
Very clean though. Nothing looks
know.
infected on
See,
these
you're
people.
going to answer yes, and then it's going to be chatter or not on your nuts.
Oh, yeah, that'd be bad too. I don't want any nut on. But it would be so juicy.
I feel like we're going to have to edit this.
In all the wrong ways.
Yeah, not a positive.
I couldn't. There's just too much skin thingies going on here.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of just like what would they actually do is too intriguing. I mean, it wouldn't be pleasurable.
No,
It'd
I
probably
don't want
be
my
super
prick
painful.
pricked. So
John has given us all the sound clips this week.
No, like if it was someone in costume, okay.
Oh, here we go.
But if it was like real flesh that's been stripped and flayed and wrapped around like metal, like
do you think they smell?
yes.
I don't think so. They look very clean. Very
one-
sterile, you guys.
No one mentioned the smell, so there's been like 11 of these.
Well, I'm
They
guessing.
got those little carved pine trees on the back of there.
They hang them from the pins.
I'm assuming that Garrett, your answer is yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to live life, you guys.
All right, you may be bold, but you're also daring.
Look, when you're like 60 to 70 and you're basically like on your way out and you're just like, I wish I would have done more with my life. You know what? You can be like, at least I fucked that Cenobite that one time.
I don't think you're going to get to say that. This is going to be like the last thing you do before you're
Yeah.
stuck
No,
in.
but if you're ever presented with the opportunity, you want to make sure you're prepared for this. You don't want to be like, no.
Well, I'll tell you, okay, hopefully I'm not on my way out in my 60s. I'm just going to throw that one out there too.
John, we're all dying faster than we think.
I guess I'm living hard out here going to bed at 7, so.
Speaking of dying, we should probably talk about Hellraiser.
Right. So our Rotten Tomato score for this one is a 66% with critics
Okay, that's
out
fair.
of 130 and a 60% with the audience.
Right on.
I thought the audience would like this more. This is like the most like true to like Hellraiser nature we've had since 2.
I would agree. I'm very surprised. I would have expected it to be like 80%.
Well, I don't know. I don't know because this franchise is not like we know it because it's been around so long, but like most of the movies fly under the radar. So I wonder if someone just kind of maybe walked in not knowing what to expect with a Hellraiser.
And then took the time to leave a Rotten Tomatoes review, though.
Also, it's Hulu exclusive, isn't it?
It is a Hulu exclusive.
God, it's...
Think about the Hulu demographic. Who would
Also-
be tuning into
And
this?
think about all the people who can't see it because they don't have Hulu. Again, the rating system might need to be looked at again now that we are gatekeeping and blocking off the ability for people to actually like see this stuff.
I bet if more horror people had Hulu subscriptions, the score would be higher.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I'm not here to shill for Hulu since get at us. I will shill for you. But you get Hulu, ESPN, and Disney Plus for a pretty good deal. That is the best bundle in streaming right now.
Cut his mic. We're not shilling for any of these people.
Put those Mickey dollars back in your pockets. I don't want to see them on the table.
Sorry, Mickey. Sorry.
Here's what the synopsis has for it, and it's not a long one, so I'll just read it real quick.
Pinhead, deal with it.
Yeah. A young woman must confront the sadistic supernatural forces behind an enigmatic puzzle box responsible for her brother's disappearance. That's it.
Wait, that's it?
That's it.
Yeah.
You were right. Short and sweet. I liked it.
What do we think of the movie?
Loved it. Highly 2 thumbs up. I thought it was really great. Everything I would hope for. And probably the 3rd best Hellraiser movie.
I concur. I think this was a great return to form. I was happy to see it. There are some elements in here that are a little cliche that I was like, okay, we're doing the whole druggy thing again.
Yeah,
we're
not
doing the
perfect
whole
film,
the whole turncoat in the party thing that we've seen a lot of, but it didn't bother me too much.
I didn't see that coming.
You didn't?
I didn't see that coming.
The first time I also
like,
did not.
I was like, this dude's dirty. He's the one that brought the job. You know, it's like.
But he tried to throw it away. That worked on me.
We find out he was trying to throw it away because he didn't want the Riley to be the one to actually do it because it was supposed to be for Voight.
Yeah.
But no, that totally got me. Again, when it happened, though, I was like, oh, really? We're going with this story plot line? Okay, cool.
But he was like kind of haphazard. Like he didn't really. I don't know.
Guys, he was a failed 12-step guy. He's not following through on a lot of shit. I'm not surprised he fucked this up.
Plus, he was very lightheaded with the lack of blood. So
Sure. We'll get into it a little bit deeper. But yeah, I think this is really worth a watch. I think if you have a Hulu subscription and you're looking for something to put on, this is well worth your time.
I would say seek it out. Even if you don't have a Hulu subscription, like maybe pirate that shit, maybe go to a friend's house. This is a really, really good horror flick.
hunt that Hulu subscription down.
John, why don't you give us your password over the podcast right now so
sure.
everyone have a chance to watch these?
It's going to be Pinhead 123456789. It's very long.
Okay.
Rewind if you need to.
Right.
Is that a
Playback.
capital P or lowercase p?
Oh, you know what? Good point. Big P, small I-N, big H.
Well, now you have Hulu too, listeners. You're welcome. Happy Halloween.
I wonder how many emails he's going to get us like, you have a failed login attempt on your...
I never told him my email address, thankfully. So
That's right. John.soandso at gmail.com.
That's pinheaded. And
Pinheaded. Nice. Yeah, so this one's good. We'll see you next time.
the
That was
end.
awesome.
Anyway, as a reboot, right? This one is a reboot.
It is a reboot. I would agree with that. Yes.
Now, is it rebooting everything? Okay, that was one of my questions. Does Doug Bradley's Pinhead and the other Cenobites exist in this movie world?
I don't think so. I think this is a legit reboot of the whole thing.
So
Yeah.
Lady Pinhead is the new Pinhead.
I would agree, unless there's a possibility of there being multiple Lamentation boxes. You have to call it a box.
There
now.
is
It's
though.
not a
Remember
cube.
in the previous movies there were
Right.
multiples.
There's no idea in this movie though. So if you take it at face value, yes, this is a complete reboot. Even the box is a different shape. So
Which I really love the designs.
yes,
of
I agree.
The puzzle box. That was really cool. I really like this. I liked it quite a bit. For a Hellraiser flick, they're always kind of get a little cerebral. They get a kind of heady in design of what do you really want? Mm-hmm. And what is the monkey's paw aspect of those desires? I thought it was really good. I thought the Cenobite design was really interesting. A little Geiger, a little more lean into the Geiger aspect of some of these designs as opposed to the previous ones. A little less leather, a little more skin making the bodysuits and stuff like that. That was an interesting choice.
Voight's device thing was awesome. I think
His
so cool.
stomach machine
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that fucked me up when I first saw that.
Same.
So this is actually serving as a readaptation to Clive Barker's original story, The Hellbound Heart. So it is not supposed to be like a remake of the movie. It's just another adaptation of the source material.
Okay.
So that's where they landed.
And I do feel like for the concept of the box, the different, end goals and stuff like that, I did think it was a lot more true to that. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Some of the actors and actresses, interesting. I'm pretty tired of the whole oh man, I fucked up my life. What am I gonna do? Kind of intro to most of our horror characters.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. My number one complaint about the movie is that except for Riley and Trevor, every other character is one note: brother, boyfriend, girl who made tacos, and that's it.
Tapas.
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 Do you know what tapas is?
It's like a taco.
No.
I have no idea.
Tapas are small plate foods, so you can eat a lot of different kinds of food. So it's
Very cool.
It's good.
Okay,
Just try
well,
it out.
all right. That's why I should watch these movies with subtitles. I don't, though. So, point is, that's all I know about them. And you're supposed to, like, care about them a little bit, but you just don't get enough time with them to give a shit.
It's true, right? So our main character, Riley, she's a recovering drug addict, right? She's been going to AA, getting over a pill addiction.
But you'd go to NA.
Well, I think getting over a lot of things. She was in
Multiple
12
things.
step. Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they only call it a 12-step program. She'd probably actually go to NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. Not that I
I feel
would
like
know,
she's in a smorgasbord of A's. Okay?
I don't think you go to multiple. Get at us, Anonymous.
I think NA does both.
Yeah, I think NA does
But
both
yeah.
too.
So she's living with her brother, trying to get her life back in order. The brother has a boyfriend and a roommate. And she has gotten into a relationship with a guy named Trevor, who is also in the program.
Yes.
So
And out the gate, we know that Trevor is not adhering to the program. He is dropped out of step whatever the fuck he's on.
Probably one.
Maybe.
dropped out of step one. And they're having sex in the apartment they're in.
Goddamn right they are.
And everybody hears it. They walk out and it's like, oh, you told them about me. So we get this like feeling that Trevor's not the best guy.
Well,
around.
hold on. They're fucking and they're going at it. And then he's like, I love you. And then she stops.
Yes.
She's like, you ruined it. And he realizes immediately, he's like, I shouldn't have said that. And then they get the outside, like in the scene with
Yeah.
the roommates where they all hear him fucking.
Right.
And then they're like, sit down and have a seat. And he like looks at Riley like, should I? And she's kind of like, gotta go.
I don't think Trevor comes off as the bad guy in this scene because he would have stayed. I think it was Riley who
You
pushed.
think so?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely would've.
He seemed to me like the guy that was looking for every opportunity to get the fuck out of that room.
No, he asked. He's like, sit? Like, should I sit? And then he looks at Riley and Riley kind of shakes her head like, no, you're not going to sit. And then he's like, okay, I got to go, you guys.
He just told Riley he loved her.
Yeah.
I think that's all part of the ploy. Later on, he calls her the Mark. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't trust him from step one.
step one.
From step 1 through 12. I was like, I don't trust this guy.
Okay.
But he leaves. And then,
Oh, so are we going through the plot?
Is that what
where
we're
we're
doing?
at? I don't know because you didn't start at the beginning.
what did I miss?
there's
Oh,
the-
you're right. I missed the sex party.
Yeah. How do you forget a sex party?
Easy. It's so commonplace for Mr. Mark that you get some confused.
Mark is the Mark in this episode.
I'm always the Mark in this episode.
Yes. So we actually get an introduction to Voight.
He buys a box that has the cube. Well, no, it's not a cube anymore. I guess it starts
It's
as
a
a cube.
shake weight. It's a fucking lamentation shake weight.
So the version of the cube we see is the one we've seen in every other movie, though, right? Like the opening cube
Yes.
looks identical to the one that we were
Before
used to
it
seeing.
starts shape shifting, yes, it looks exactly like the OG cube.
And there's 6 transformations before you get to the final end goal of the puzzle box.
Right. I love this new aspect to the box. I think it
Yes.
is fantastic
Agreed.
to see these new shapes and new versions of it that all have different meanings. I didn't write them all down, but maybe you guys did, and we can kind of list those later.
If I were
took
smarter.
a blurry screenshot and I can't read it. So no, we did not.
All right.
At the end, the Lady Pinhead says them all.
Lament, lore, Laudurant, liminal, Lazarus, Leviathan.
So according to Voight, the puzzle box, it has 6 sides, 6 configurations. There are 3 left. And then it says whoever possesses the final configuration is granted a passage to another realm, to an audience with God. What I'm trying to get to is that this God, whatever it is, offers choices to whoever holds the final configuration. You get there, then you choose your ultimate desire. Life, knowledge, love, sensation, power, resurrection. You see where I'm going?
No, I don't. Actually,
Matt, what if this brings him back?
So we're introduced to Voight's mansion, which is a very decadent place. A lot of
Very posh.
great looking people. This is where all the well-to-dos, the rich
Illuminati.
posh, yes, the Illuminati hang out and party.
The Secret Society Freak Association.
The one that I've been trying to get into for 40 years.
Good luck, sir.
It'll never be me. I'm just on the glass.
The application question is, would you fuck a Cenobite? You're already out,
Yeah.
Mark.
Oh, good point.
It's the no marks society, so it's very challenging.
Back to church for me. So we see this young man walking through the hall, kind of experiencing all this for the first
He's
time.
very overwhelmed.
Right. He goes and sits down at a bar, and there's a woman there saying, like, oh, you know.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more or less. And she's like looking him up and down. It's like, I think Mr. Voight would like to meet you.
And he's like, oh, I would love to meet Mr. Voight.
Yeah, and she's like, in 10 minutes, go to the double doors and go inside.
And he does. And in there, it's like a weird
Museum type, yeah.
exactly. And right in the center is the box, and it has now expanded into more of a rectangle than a cube situation. What's a 3-dimensional rectangle? You got cubes. It's only 3-dimensional, shaped by spheres.
A block.
A box. Nerd Garrett, though, saw all the different little pedestals with different items and artifacts inside the glass cases, and I was like, I want to know what every one of these things is.
Do you think it took the studio a lot of restraint not to put Freddy's glove or something from another franchise in there as
I
like
don't
a
think
tease?
so.
That would have been awesome. There's like Jason's mask, Freddy's glove, just this hodgepodge of shit.
Right.
The people who made this seem to be very into making a Hellraiser. They're very respectful
Yeah.
of this. So I don't think
yes.
they'd do something like that, but that would have been kind of funny.
Right. Now, we didn't mention the beginning, which is where this lady bought the cube off a guy at a bench.
No, Voight buys it off the bench.
No, the woman shows
No, the
up.
woman does.
The one that lures the kid in the
'cause
room.
she later on, she's like, I helped him find this. I helped him do a lot of bad
Yeah.
But she
shit.
gives it to Voight, right? Because he's like, oh, I thought he would show up himself.
No, she buys it.
Yeah,
Belgrade.
that's the guy. The guy with the box who's selling it to her is like, I thought he might show up
know
for
what?
once.
Berkshire.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everybody looks the same to me, so
So I want to look at you both in the eyes and say, don't you dare tell me I messed up the beginning when you skipped it too.
I did mention it. I mentioned it. It started in Belgrade.
I always get caught in the details. I was like, I'm going to let this one go because I don't want to make the podcast too long.
Play the tape.
Oh, no.
Play it
you,
back.
You call me out and chastise me, you're getting it right back. Okay.
Play it back. I mentioned
That's how
it.
it
Well, I'm
is.
at my fancy Cenobite sex parties. You can be at home being like, dear Lord, shall we have a TV dinner and watch more Munsters episodes?
Sounds good to me.
I don't know why you had a fucking British accent all of a sudden.
Look, I incorrectly mentioned what happened. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
Let's blame John for this one.
Yes. Okay. I'll take
John's
it.
the new Mark.
I'm falling on the sword.
Anyway, the kid that was ushered into the double door room where all the pedestals are with all the items and the cube out in the open,
It's like right in the middle.
he goes and grabs it. And he's
Why?
Yes.
Why? I mean, I get curiosity is a hell of a thing, but if I saw something that looked like it was in a glass case, I would never be like, I should touch that because what if it breaks?
Here's why. His parents never said, you see with your eyes, not with your hands. Okay?
That's true. I wouldn't have touched anything in that room. And
No.
I break you by. I learned that
Yes.
early on.
But Voight's watching him play with it because this thing's already in the second to final configuration.
Yeah, real close.
I don't want to infer that his intelligence is not high, but he doesn't seem like a smart lad.
His spidey sense is off because he's like, I think I've almost figured this out. And then Voight's like, that's great. And he goes, if I figured out, do I get a prize? And Voight goes, I do. It's like, I would have just stopped right there. Like, I don't know what you mean, sir.
I think what we're dealing with is an individual that is young and inexperienced.
Yeah.
He just hasn't experienced a lot in the world. Like he looked very overwhelmed with all the stuff going on in this mansion.
True, but even as a young child, I knew not to go into fancy places and start touching shit I could not afford to replace.
Well, maybe this is a rich kid and he didn't get those life lessons that you
maybe.
did.
Maybe.
Well, he learned the hard way because
Yes,
he
he
does
did.
figure out the puzzle box. And we learn in this iteration.
Everyone figures out the puzzle box. Back
Yes.
to our Hellraiser episode where you're like, you just finger it a little bit and bada bing, bada boom, you got Cenobites. That was the quote. And I was like, best quote ever because everyone just instantly is like, oh, a puzzle box. I got this.
Yeah.
No one has a problem solving any of these configurations.
Which, back to my problem with movie 2, why do you need a puzzle master to figure out this fucking box?
This box is especially this one. And like Riley just has to turn one thing to match a corner, and it takes her a really long time to figure out. Oh, okay.
The difficulty of this puzzle is one step up from Chinese finger traps.
Yes,
It turns into a dreidel.
it is ridiculous easy. But he's very proud of himself until in this iteration, a knife juts out and stabs him right through the hand, and he's like, "Ah."
It shoots out like Logan's claws in
Yes.
the X-Men. It's like shink, and everyone's just like, my hand.
Yeah, I mean, this kid reacts appropriately. He's like, oh, fuck, and it's like he pulls it out, blood gets on the box, and Voight moves in, takes the box, and he's like, I did it. And in the background, you see the poor kid just getting torn apart by fucking chains. They just shoot out.
Classic being judge, the chain shootout, hold him up in the air.
Suspended?
Suspended,
Suspended,
there you go.
yeah.
But yeah, so you basically see Voight is familiar with this box. He's doing some shit with it. And right before we see that scene play out, that's when we cut to the whole sex scene with Riley and Trevor.
So now that we're caught up.
Okay.
So they come out and we get to meet everybody here. I wrote these people's names down because I'm a professional. We've got Nora, Colin, who is the boyfriend, and Matt, who is Riley's brother. And Nora's the roommate who's making tapas, not tacos.
Yes.
Now, you can't have tacos as a tapas, but
Oh,
they got to
can
be
you?
teeny tiny tacos.
What if you
like
just break the taco apart into two pieces?
Well-
and the taco meat just sits on top of the shell.
I mean, that's lower class tapas, but yes, you could do that.
So now if we really want to think about this philosophically, how small does it have to be a tapa, right? At some point, you're not a tapa, then you are a tapa.
Anyway,
We're talking
Cinebites.
about finishing things in a couple bites. That is a tapas.
So doesn't matter because we don't even see the tapas. It cuts to Riley and her brother arguing, and he's like, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but live it better. How you currently live it sucks.
Well, because he knows, this is where he says, you're hanging out with this dude. I don't like him. She's like, you don't like anybody I like. And he's like, he's a failed 12-stepper. You're in the program. He's going to make you fail the program. And you've come to find out that he's been like taking care of Riley in this aspect for years and years and years. He's always been there to kind of like be the safety net for her.
You can tell he cares.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he cares, but he's doing it with such a stern hand that it's pushing her away.
Yeah.
And it's not working out for him.
And maybe there's a backstory where he tried to jump away and it didn't work. We don't know because it starts out with him being very overbearing. And so they get in this big argument, and she's like, fine, I won't see Trevor anymore. Cuts to her running into Trevor's apartment.
Playing pinball.
Straight into his
Yes.
arms.
And so they're playing pinball, and she's like, I don't need my brother's approval. I just wish he wasn't disappointed with me. And I was like, that's how I feel about Garrett and Mark all the time.
The disappointment's less and less
All
every
right.
day.
Don't worry, I'm working on getting it back up there. And then she's like, you know what? Being broke sucks. So they're smoking a cigarette, and she's like, I need a new job. This current job I have, they don't say what it is, but we know it is not paying her enough money. And this is on second watching, you really get it. And because he's so smart, he's like, well, I have an idea. Never mind. Your brother wouldn't like it. He's like, oh, fucking baited and hooked.
And you guys didn't see this. Like, this play is like by the book.
Nope.
I got robbed by a sweet old lady on a motorized cart. I didn't even see it coming.
So he's like, look, you're not a good girl, but you want to be one. And you have a little mat on your shoulder. And, he's going to tell you this is stupid. And she's like, she flicks him off like this imaginary, good angel. And she's like, all right, tell me now. And he's like, all right. So,
She beats him in the face.
Yes.
Like lovingly. Tell me, you idiot. Kind
So
of
she's
shit.
like, really, he's putting up minimal effort, but she's fishing it out of him. He's like, well, I used to work at the warehouse or whatever. And you should have seen this one place, like the shit that was coming out of it, and there's one container left. I happen to know the code, so why don't we go in there and rob it and steal that shit, make some money, bada bing, bada boom, we're rich. And Riley's like, say no more. I love that idea. Cut to nighttime. They're at, I guess it's like a dock.
It's a warehouse. It's like a warehouse district.
Situation.
Warehouse 55.
Yeah, but the container is one of those you'd see on a ship.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was thinking
It's
of.
definitely one of those.
Yeah, it was a big shipping container.
Obviously
and
came
inside
overseas.
And inside that shipping container, there's nothing but a small safe.
And they spend some time banging on the safe with a sledgehammer, and then finally Riley gets it open. Which
What was Trevor doing? He says, what chances do you have when I couldn't get it open? So he must have been, was he like wailing at the top of it? Because she swings twice, knocks the lock off, and it opens right away.
So basically, this is supposed to be our first indication that our character's smart and she's going to think outside the box. So as John kind of alluded, Voight has hired, who's the boyfriend?
This is Trevor.
Trevor. To basically go get the lamentation cube for him so he can, finish his whole big plan, which we'll get to.
To get sacrifices.
Yes. And so it's in this case because the lawyer, the woman from earlier in the sex party who was like, her like Jarvis was like, Voight's Jarvis is like, she's like, I shipped it away. I hid it, and so now
That's
Voight's-
who they go see?
Yes.
Oh,
That's the old lady.
shit. I
That's
watched
the
this
old
movie
lady.
twice and did not put that together.
She's the one that buys the box in Belgrade. She's the one that basically tricks the dude into going into Voight's museum room to get like stuck.
So she's like the Nick
then
Fury
she's
of
the
this
one that-
shit.
yeah.
I'm putting together a Hellraiser initiative.
I'm starting to think you think all middle-aged women look alike.
Not all of them, just that one.
just white people. Boom.
I thought the lady who they go see later is Hispanic. So I was so far off the mark. I was like, how did this
I thought
lady
she was
get
Spanish.
involved?
I thought she was
Yeah.
like from Spain or something like that.
Apparently
Just
she's-
her accent, but anyway.
She's not a white woman. But
Yeah, I was very confused. Point anyway, not important right now.
Anyway,
Continue.
so she basically shipped this thing off. Now, I don't know if it was at Voight's request or if it was her basically trying to get rid of it, because later on she's like, I got rid of that thing. How did you find it? So I think
and she was like, it was not very hard, actually. I found it immediately.
But yeah, so this scene's basically, Trevor is trying to get into this safe and he's just hammering away because, he's not smart, but, he's all action. And then so he's like, what chance do you have?
Yeah.
And then she's like, it's all about how you approach it. And then she hits the dial. She hits it at an angle from the top and it falls off. And he's like, holy shit, okay. So then they pry open the safe. So you basically now see that, like, what are you going to do? I tried it with brute strength. And she's like, but I'm smart and I use my brain. And so that's that whole scene right there.
I mean, I know what you're saying and you're correct, but I would have taken a swung at the top of the dial like pretty early on. Like,
Also, I'm not a safeologist, but I don't think it's that easy to break into a safe. You just knock the dial off and the thing's
No.
like poof, open.
Look, Trevor's not a smart man. Okay,
Obviously.
So anyway, they get inside of it, and just inside of this safe is a little box. It's a box inside of a box. It's a Matryoshka doll of like fucking Hellraiser.
I was
cube.
hoping so bad they would open that box and another smaller box would be in it, but they do not.
It's boxes all the way down.
well, there is a box in it.
But
and
not
it's
that,
a
yes.
lamentation configuration.
It contains Cenobites, I guess. But
Right.
do the Cenobites live in the box?
No, they live in like
Yes, it's like I Dream of Jeannie.
That's
she
how
lived
I
in the
imagine.
bottle.
Yeah, so they.
Rub it and no pinhead comes out.
That's why they're so pissed. They're constantly getting jostled.
Yeah, I'd be upset too.
So they open it and there's the box and Trevor goes, I thought there'd be bonds. And I was like, dude, what would you do with bonds? How would you get rich? Please tell me.
right.
he's gonna play the bond market.
Yes. What is your plan if this safe was filled with bonds? But it's not. So she's like, well, so
How about I just hang on to it
Yes.
for now?
And he's
She's
like-
yeah, good idea. We'll get an appraiser, we'll sell it and split it. And it's like, cool.
Now, this is the part that really kind of confuses me because we're going to have to kind of spoil this. Voight supposedly died or disappeared, but he's not really gone. He went into hiding and he hires Trevor to get the box and get sacrifices with it, right?
yes.
Okay.
Right. He needs the configuration to go through the 6 phases again.
So he can go meet the master, the Leviathan. Yes.
Which is a big old spaceship.
It's the big diamond.
It looks like a rhombus.
Yeah. Oh, we were killing it with the shapes, y'all. I just want our shape game is on point.
Our geometry game is on point.
Love it.
So he sent Trevor to go get 6 sacrifices so he could get the thing back, and we'll explain why.
Well, I
later
think
on,
he
but-
sent Trevor to find someone to get 5 sacrifices.
Well, that's why my question is: was Trevor supposed to be the one that got sacrifices, or why would he let her take the cube if he had a job to do?
I think they were over delegating a little bit.
Okay.
And Riley was supposed to get the cube most of the way there and then bring it to the house. And then Voight would use the final sacrifice was going to be Riley.
Because it sounded like at the end when Trevor's talking to Voight, it sounds like he's like, well, look, she was taking care of it, so why did I need to get involved? Like she grabbed it and ran with it, so I just let her do her thing.
Trevor's not wrong.
Well, yeah,
He was pretty much there.
Again, that was a little bit convoluted. I could have done with a little bit more clarity at the beginning on that.
We did just establish Trevor, not very bright. So if you look at it
True.
through that prism as a not very bright person.
If you looked at it with that rhombus.
Yes. Yeah. That polyhedron, there's where you have it.
He's not getting all the Roy G. Bibs. He's missing a couple colors.
Now, while this is happening, evidently Riley is drinking. She's drinking on the
Yeah.
job because we cut to the next scene, which is her stumbling back into the apartment.
They don't show it, but there is a weird hard cut here because they are definitely sober in that container.
Okay.
Because she is like literally incommunicable. Like she can't talk. She's so drunk. She can't take her shoes off. She's like just stomping it on the ground. It's like, Riley, that's not how you take your shoes off. Like that's how you put a shoe on,
She's
maybe.
thinking
But
outside the box. Okay. Ooh, outside the box.
oh shit.
Think outside the
Hellraiser
buns.
story.
Yeah.
The Taco Bell story.
No,
Oh,
the
okay.
box, the puzzle box. It was
Yeah.
a play on words, Mark.
I know.
Yeah, he said think
on-
outside the bun.
Think outside the bun is the
What
Taco
is-
Bell
is it-
tagline.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Learn
I don't-
all your taglines.
I guess I don't
Garrett.
watch enough fast food commercials.
You should try.
Yeah.
I'll pass. Thank you.
Wait till you hear about Fifth Meal.
Wait till you find the Hardee's channel.
Oh, boy.
Holy moly.
Anyway, so Riley comes back home drunk. Her brother gets out of bed and he was like, "What the hell? You're drunk. I told you, you should do this." And she's like, "Get off my ass, dude."
First she goes, I'm not drunk. It's like, lady, I've never seen anyone more drunk than you are right now. You're like swaying. The actress did a great job of playing drunk, assuming she was not actually drunk.
And he kicks her out. Get the fuck out, he says.
And she does. And so she goes to her car and she has a little container of pills, which kind of looked a little bit like the box, had the same color, some intricate patterning. It's like, I wonder if there's anything there. Doesn't matter though, we never see it again. So then she pours all her pills on the street and then goes, you know what? That was a bad decision, and picks them all right back up.
She's homeless now. She's got nowhere to turn.
So street pills.
Yes.
What's that moment where you're like, I'm not going to be a fuck up like they think they are, like I am, and then it's like, wait a minute, that's quality pills right there.
Yes.
Right.
It's like, actually, I definitely am going to be a fuck up.
Would you eat street pills?
I mean,
Ooh, that's so questionable.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I'm
probably.
talking like driven road street.
well, no. If I had just poured the pills on the street and then 5 seconds later, within the 5-second rule, picked them back up, yes. If I just saw a pill on the street, no, I would not go grab a pill.
Inside my residence, if I found a mystery pill, yes. Because either someone I trust has brought it in or I have myself dropped this pill. Go for it. Why not?
More likely, it's going to be like a cholesterol pill or an anti-blood pressure pill, more than anything fun.
You guys are going to find me dead one day.
Them street pills.
I knew that'd be Garrett's end.
The Memorial Grave Talk episode.
Street pills.
Either died fucking a Cenobite or taking street pills. We don't
Halfway
know.
through the episode, mid-open, cold. What song is Garrett's? What song is going to be playing at Garrett's funeral?
Purple Pills by D12.
I'm just kidding.
I'm really pissed off y'all didn't say the Monster Mash.
Oh yeah, it'd be the monster.
If y'all
That
didn't
is
play
the
it off
obvious
with the Monster
one,
Mash,
yes.
fuck you guys.
You want
know
that
what?
for your funeral?
Everything. My wedding, my funeral, my graduation, my coronation, my
When you
my
become
knighting.
king.
Yes, when they knight me.
I was
Okay.
continuing on the pill theme, but
No, I get it, but
Monster
Monster
Mash-
Mash supersedes everything.
Okay, well, you know.
Anyway, back to Cenobites. Would you fuck them? No. So she picks up the mystery pills. Not the mystery. They're not mystery. She knows.
She knows what they are.
She picks up the street pills, takes them, and then goes immediately like a hop, skip, and a jump next door to the playground at night. And
yeah,
then
which
sits
has
in
one
the-
of those metal death circles, which I thought all playgrounds got rid of.
Those are called merry-go-rounds.
called the merry-go-round.
Yeah, or a metal death circle. So,
In this movie, yes, metal death circle. She starts spinning around and she's playing with the cube. She unlocks the next configuration where the knife juts out of the box, but it doesn't cut her.
And let's point out, she unlocks the configuration by gently sliding her finger in a
Yeah.
counterclockwise way in the middle of the circle, and then boom, solved.
that's
You know those puzzles that are literally just like 6 pieces? That's this.
It might as well
yes,
be.
it's like those dollar store word jumbles that like every word is in there. You don't even have to really try; you just see them all.
The answers are already outlined
yes.
for you. Yeah. So she passes out from the pills on the merry-go-round, and her brother, in the middle of the night, starts seeing.
no.
Pinhead.
This is where we get our first Cenobite.
The pills are kicking in, and
Right.
she's doing the circle on the merry-go-round,
Right.
and she sees a figure standing off in the distance, and she's like, "What the fuck was that?"
And she hears a voice that says, "That shit was for you." Well, it doesn't say that exactly, but it says that knife or whatever was for you.
Yes.
And since it didn't happen to you, it's going to happen to somebody. And then you get that weird circle on her chest.
Oh, yeah.
The symbol, like it's basically a symbol, is etched on her chest, and it starts bleeding through her like tank top.
And it like collapses in. Very good effect.
Oh yeah, it basically implodes on itself, and then chains, the Cenobite chains shoot out of her chest, and then her brother wakes up like, it was a nightmare that her brother was having.
Because
We
he
don't know
gets
if it's-
stuck with the chains in the dream.
Yes.
And he's lifted up, and as he's lifted up, he wakes up, and he's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So now we're back to the brother who's like, I got to go after her. I shouldn't have kicked her out. I'll go get her. And so he runs out to find her. And there she is, passed out in the playground. Classic Riley. Classic Bobo Steven Tyler.
Probably done this before. Because
she
he
didn't
found her. He found her in no problem.
She didn't make it very far, right? She made it to her parked car, which at best is maybe a block away,
Yeah.
and then walked from her car to the playground across the street. So she, in total, maybe walked 100 feet.
Yeah. You can look out the window and be like, there she is.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he goes,
that would
and
have
he's
been awesome.
Riley, wake up. Riley, wake up.
She's asleep on the metal death circle again.
What did I tell her about the metal death circle?
So he tries to wake her up. As he's
sees-
doing it, he Does he cut himself?
Yeah,
on the
he
box?
sees the box and he's trying to get it out of the way. And in like a very like infomercial style calamity,
There's got to be a better way.
he somehow stabs himself with this very obvious knife.
Deeply.
So deeply, man. And so he's like, fuck. He pulls it out. He gets Riley, sits her up. He's like, look, I'm going to go into this grody ass public bathroom and wash this off. And I was like, dude, you're going to put more germs. Whatever's coming out of that faucet is going to be worse than
Let
nothing.
me stop you right there. There's been no place in the entire United States where a public park bathroom has ever had working running water.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry. Like when he walked in and turned the water on, I was like, bullshit. I was like, fucking Hollywood. I was
He
like,
does
there's-
try like 3 of them before one works.
I know.
But yes, I agree.
I've never been to a park where like the toilets worked or anything like that at all.
I would have been like, dude, wrap that shit up and just go back across the street to your house.
Like you said, we saw him out the window.
Yes.
Like, go back inside your apartment.
Ridiculous.
Tony, throw me a towel.
But then some weird shit starts to happen. And the lights start blinking, and he's like, oh.
The walls start reconfiguring, which is very like when we say the walls, we're going to talk about this this effect a lot in this movie. But like the walls start like reforming themselves, like the lamentation cube like, reforms itself. So the Cenobites exist in a reality just outside of our reality that's connected, and when everything reorganizes, it's the gateway to open that portal so they can come in.
When they're not in the cube.
I don't think they're ever in the cube, but
Just
yes.
kidding.
Let me out.
So he
I
looks
got
at
sights to show you.
so crowded in here. So he looks at the mirror, and then this is such a cliche effect, but it always works on me when the mirror does not reflect what the person is doing. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to outside, and Riley's sitting there kind of dozing off and hears a bunch of screams. And she's like, that's weird. And then it cuts again, and now a bunch of cops are here and the paramedics talking to her. And he's like, did you take any pills? She's like, I don't know. Did you drink anything? Can't remember. Like, oh, fucking Riley, man. And we see cops are taking notes, and then
Matt's gone.
Matt is MIA.
Except for some blood in the sink.
Right, we find out it cuts again, and now it's in her apartment. It's the next day, and they're like, the cops say a couple of blood splatters doesn't mean it. We don't even know if that's Matt's blood. And she's like, it's his. I know it's his because I heard some creepy shit when I was fucking with the box.
And they're like, but you said you were going in and out of it in your drug haze.
Yeah.
It's like, you could have seen anything. Did he leave the bathroom? And she's like, I don't know.
Well, it's funny because she goes, he grabbed the box, and they're like, what is that box? And she's like, it's from last night. And they're like, why didn't you say anything about it? She's like, I didn't remember. And I was like, I mean, I'm going to give her a pass for not remembering shit. She's drunk. She's on pills. But yeah, they're really like, what the hell is that
Also,
thing?
but I don't understand, why would they give a shit about the box? They don't know that box is anything.
Because it's
though.
evidence.
Like, it's got his fingerprint on it. That's the best they're going to get.
No, I mean, the thing is, in a criminal investigation, you don't take anything away from the scene that could potentially help you find the person who's missing.
But they're not investigating it.
Right.
They just said that this is not, we
Because they
can't
didn't
take it
find a
seriously.
lamentation cube. If they did that, they're like,
You
holy
think that-
shit, we got Cenobites, boys.
Oh, another one of these boxes. Holy smokes.
It's called Square, the Book of Cenobites. It's a new series coming from Blumhouse.
It would have been like, get the lamentation protocols together, boys.
But yeah, so at this point,
She rushes back over to Trevor's place.
Because Nora and Colin are like just pounding her, and she rushes out.
well, they're fucking roommate and best friend or boyfriend.
Well, they basically
gone.
are like, this is your fault. I told you not to go, because we didn't mention, but she sees Colin as she's leaving, and he's like, it's just going to blow over. Go back upstairs. And she leaves. So Colin's like, I told you to fucking stay in the house. This is your fault. And so she storms off, feeling very guilty.
Victim blame. Victim blame.
Big time. So she's crying in the car. She drives off to Trevor's, and she's just jumps on him, and we get a sex scene where she sees the Cenobite again and like freaks out. And
this is when I wrote down, would you fuck a Cenobite? So
I will deny you 3 times, just as Peter denied Jesus. I'm not having sex with a Cenobite.
you know,
this is the point in my notes, though. I wrote that down. I was like, huh.
keep asking. Maybe I'll change.
I'm
my
gonna
mind.
wear you down.
You're gonna wear
Mark.
me
You're
down.
gonna fuck a Cenobite by the end of this episode.
I'm gonna be having that Munster scale
Yeah, I
that you
was
did
gonna
after
say.
4 watches. You liked it, but she's like, Trevor, I don't know what's going on. This is the same pills I used to do back in the day, and I never full on hallucinated before.
And we finally get a timeline. It's been 3 days. She says it has been 3 days, and I'm like, how? But it doesn't matter.
Well, she starts. Okay, so at this point, she starts drilling. Trevor's like, okay, what the fuck was that container? Whose warehouse was that? who told you about this place? How'd you figure this out? And he's like, look, I don't know much. And she's like, you better tell me fucking something. And he's like, wait a minute, there's someone I might know. And so they basically like do a little research and they find out where the lawyer, the woman from the very beginning, is at now. And she's in a hospital, like an old folks kind of like hospice type
Yeah,
thing.
still like emphysema or something.
Yeah. And so we cut to the now scene where they're going to basically go talk to this lady and there's like, hey, we got some questions for you. And she's like, who are you? And they're like, well, hey, we found this box. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, we're paraphrasing, of course, but she's like, damn it, I got rid of that thing. And they're like, well, we found it. She's like, how did you find it? Now, in hindsight,
she goes, I locked it up there.
Yes.
It wasn't lost.
Yeah.
We knew it was there. We locked it up so no one else would get it.
I got rid of it. Yeah.
And she's like, you don't know whose mess you just stepped in.
She must have got rid of it when Voight disappeared. That, I bet, is when
well, yeah,
she
after what happens to
Yes.
Voight, she's like, he's probably like, get rid of this thing. And she's like, on it.
Yeah.
Or she may have just taken it upon herself to be like, okay, this is fucked up everything. You got to go, little box.
Right. So she asks for a drink of water, and Trevor goes to get her the water. And then at that moment, the lawyer woman grabs the configuration cube and is like, I'm just going to put this away so I can't fuck with anybody else.
She's like, you have no idea the hornet's nest you've stirred up. I'm going to take this and save you from this.
And here's how easy this puzzle is. While they're fighting over the box, Riley goes to grab it. They somehow solve the puzzle by mistake in the middle of a tussle.
Human warmth solves the puzzle
Yes.
in this configuration.
And gets the lawyer, cuts her hand.
Yeah, nicks her right between two fingers. Just a little cut. But still, that's enough to make her go woozy and start seeing.
I gotta think there's some sort of chemical on the blade that makes you
I think
start
it's just
like
part of the supernatural curse of the Cenobite.
Yeah.
Just as the portal opens, you get
then suddenly
disoriented.
become more like aware of that alternate reality that exists. You become susceptible to both.
Yeah.
So you start getting a little like woozy and kind of like, holy
It's
shit.
ARDS, alternate reality distortion syndrome. It happens when you get too close to any kind of parallel dimension, portals, that
It's a
kind
real
of stuff.
problem. Real problem.
the plane beyond sight.
Exactly. Obviously, you're not reading Togen Spirit Guide, or
But
you
this
know.
this sucks
should.
though, because like at this point, Riley's like, "Give me back my box," and then the boyfriend runs back, Trevor, and he's like, "What'd you do? What'd you do to her?" And she's like, "It's okay, I just nicked my finger."
She says, I did it to myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because she doesn't want to get Riley in trouble because she knows that she has no idea what she's dealing with here.
I also
But at
think
that
she
point-
knows that she's like,
She's fucked.
it's over.
So at this point, they're like, we got to get the fuck out of here. We just cut this old lady. So Trevor and Riley, they leave. And now they're like, okay, come with us, Mrs. Sabrina. And they're going to take her to the infirmary because she's got her breathing problems now. She's like excited. She's having trouble breathing. They take her to the infirmary area. And inside this room, she starts seeing the walls reconfigure. Your classic, intro to some Cenobites about to show up. Mm-hmm. And then as she does, a creature in the walkway, and this is Wheezy. This is the Cenobite Wheezy that I call him. I guess Sphinx is the actual proper name for this one. And it's got skin wrapped around its face, so it can't breathe. It's like it's trying to breathe through the skin, and it's like like that. And it's like kind of bound and like walking forward.
Is this the first time we've seen this Cenobite on screen? Because I was trying to remember, like, are any of these repeats? And the only one that repeats is Pinhead and Chatterer, to my knowledge.
I believe so, yeah.
Right? This one was a super effective Cenobite for me. That wheezing was just creepy, man.
Very Silent Hill reminded me of.
Very painful breathing. Yeah, it was very, very effective.
I'm sad we didn't get the early 90s stereo Cenobite, but maybe next time.
You mean VCR head?
Yes, with shooting out the CDs, that's what I want.
That's why I was wondering if it was like a reboot off of 2, because 2 talks a lot about the Leviathan. But anyway, so this Cenobite comes out and walks right by her, and she's like, oh, I guess I'm good. But then the wall opens behind her, and then there's the rest of them, and then they chain her up and they take her away.
It's so good. And then we get our first of our many classic Cenobite lines, save your breath for screaming.
Yes.
She has a breathing problem. It's like, man, talk about salt in the wounds.
She also takes out one of the bobby pins and puts it in her mouth as she says that.
Ugh.
Out of one of the other Cenobite's eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It's so gross.
We see a couple Cenobites at this point. We see the
Basically the whole crew.
the lady with the like arc on her head, and she's the one that has like the thing taken out of her eye. We see Wheezy.
In the skin work, and I keep saying skin work, like all their skin has been patterned into these like glyphs and symbols. Every Cenobite has. It's so intricate and well done. Like that had been a blast to design.
Yeah, their bodysuits are made out of their bodies.
I
Yes.
saw a thing on YouTube from the Warner Brothers. Said the Pinhead, what's her name? the actress who played Pinhead.
Jamie Clayton.
Jamie Clayton. I saw an interview with her. She said it took 4 hours to get into makeup.
Holy moly.
Yeah,
That
could
is a
you imagine?
long ass time. But I appreciate it. That means that's all like physical work. You
Yeah.
know, it's not all CG or here's a bodysuit and we'll Green Lantern this shit. You know what I mean?
So I imagine that's about how long it took for all of them. I can't think hers was substantially longer than the rest. So that's pretty impressive, a commitment to those roles.
Even if you don't watch this movie, listeners, you should go look up the images of them because it is just so phenomenally done.
Agreed.
The work should be commended. Yeah, they're great. Which one was your favorite?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one. I think, even though it's OG, I do think Chatterer was... just thinking about with his face pulled away and you see all the teeth, it fucks with me. They were all gross as fuck, but I think that one messes with me the most.
I think the final Cenobite of the movie is the one that I like the most.
The Messiah one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that one looked sick.
The one
Yeah.
that Voight becomes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was really cool. I always loved just the real like empowering design of like the lead priest Cenobite, whether it be Pinhead, Layer guy. Like I just love the outfits they always have. Like she had like a little like kind of like a cape dress thing going down. I couldn't tell if that was skin or what, but it looked like cloth, but it was like the same color as her skin, and her skin like in her chest had been like woven into this really ornate weave. And then she had like, like pieces, it looked like pieces of the machine, the Leviathan, like bedded in her neck and stuff like that. I just loved the like uniformity of that. It was just really cool, but
It's hard to beat the OG, right?
Yeah.
So after they leave the hospital, Trevor does make a comment later. He's like, I called about the lawyer and she's missing, right?
Yeah.
She's gone.
also at this point, Riley's been doing some research too on Google because she misspells some stuff and it autocorrects. And I was like, that's a nice little touch. She finds out that Voight was the guy who originally was involved with this lady, and 6 people that he was at his house, at his mansion or whatever, went missing. And she's like, dude, Trevor, check this out. Like all these people are missing who are associated with Voight, who this lady worked with, and his mansion is nearby. We should probably go check that shit out and see what this is all about. And Trevor's like, no, under no circumstances are we doing that.
Yeah, so she gets a call from Colin, and Colin's like, where are you? And she's like, I'm doing stuff. And he's like, well, we're all fucking doing stuff, Riley. And during all this, Trevor gets the box and tries to run away with it. And knowing what we know about him, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he wrapped it up and he was trying to do something with it.
I think this scene was still just to throw you off the scent that he's a turncoat.
No, totally worked.
Well, yeah, that's where he says we should just throw this box away.
Yeah.
Let me take it from you.
But when you consider his overarching plan, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because he wants to feed the box.
Yeah, and this is where my confusion comes in because I think was he supposed to be the one doing it? Or...
I think he was tasked with feeding the box himself.
He was.
However, Riley was now doing it on her own accord by
He
accident.
tells Voight later when the surprise reveal comes out. He's like, look, she was doing the work one way or the other. It was getting done. What does it matter who's doing it? But it starts to matter because Riley's starting to smarten up about this.
Is she, though? 'Cause she goes and does something very stupid.
She goes to an abandoned mansion and
Yes.
stays there until dark.
All on her own. So she gets the box from him. She goes to the mansion, and it is very run down, but also still has power. Very weird. Whatever.
I expected layers of dust on all that furniture.
Nothing.
Nah, it's totally fine.
Also, if I ever become rich and opulent, well, I'm just going to basically have a room with statues that are covered in fucking cloth because there's nothing creepier than having statues uncovered and covered in a giant room.
That's true. So the mansion is exactly what you would think. It is a giant house, but it's got this very ornate iron framework built all around it. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it looks like a construction scaffolding.
I thought that too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, they use some fancy construction scaffolding at this house.
Turns out that's not what it is, but we'll get to that. So Riley goes in, she wanders around, she finds a control panel that has a bunch of switches that turns the power on, and
Which we saw earlier in the movie in the
Yes.
sex party.
and it still works. It opens and closes like the gate on, I guess it's a sunroof type
Skylight.
thing.
It's a big skylight, yeah.
Yeah.
And it opens some gates and closes some doorway gates and stuff. So basically, it's almost like this house is sort of a puzzle too.
He likes switches because he also has a bunch of switches behind his bar.
And then none of them are labeled. That's the beauty of them. None of them labeled.
He
So you
just
gotta-
knows.
You got to remember all 86 switches.
Dude, I have a 6 light switch and I need to label those. So
It's
I
like
don't
when
know
you
how-
see a pilot's cockpit and
Yeah.
you see all the buttons and stuff. You're like, how the fuck do y'all even know what these mean?
For as ornate as this ironwork is, you think he'd have a more up-to-date switch panel.
Yeah, it's very old school.
Yeah.
It looks like a circuit breaker panel, essentially.
Yeah, more or
Basically,
less.
That's what it
Yes.
looks like, yeah.
It's like, come on, man. You spent all that money on the sex dungeon in the next room over. Couldn't you make it from, spring for the little bit better panel so people will know what they're looking at?
He follows the John Hammond school of not sparing any expenses. Anything that is exterior, money. Anything that's interior, cut corners.
How do you think you get the money for the exterior?
Yeah, he probably had Nedry wire this whole thing up anyway.
That's a fair point. Thank you for taking me to Jurassic Park School.
No problem.
Why we love you, John.
All rich people are the same. So,
But at this point, she comes across his study, and she walks into, after seeing his little museum room that we saw in the beginning, but she walks into a study, and she finds a book, and she starts reading it. And this is where we see all the different configurations. She's like, holy shit, I recognize these box configurations, and each one's associated with like power, love, experience. Not experience.
Sensation, resurrection, Leviathan,
power,
and
Lamentations.
Lamentation.
Yeah. So it's basically the 6 like final configurations that you can get.
Maybe we got them. Maybe we didn't.
Well, we only got 4. Power isn't. I don't think power is one because power is the Leviathan.
No, I think
configuration.
Leviathan is power. I think she refers to it differently, but yeah. So anyway, like she's like, holy shit, that's what this thing is. And then she starts reading about the Cenobites because, of course, every rich person keeps like very detailed notes on their crazy plans. And so she's like, okay, I know what these people are. I know what's going on. What the fuck?
But she also is like, resurrection. As a matter of fact, there's someone I want to resurrect.
Because her brother is dead.
Yes. So now she has a plan.
Yes.
She's a lady with a plan, and it is to get the Cenobites to resurrect her brother.
But then she hears something. What could it be? Oh, it's all her friends and her boyfriend because
I guess Trevor went and picked up Colin and
yes.
What's the other girl's name?
Nora.
I went and got him because you just seemed crazed about this and we had to help you out and stop you. And so they're all in the house at this point. It's nighttime in a giant abandoned mansion.
So ridiculous.
Never stay in an abandoned place after night, period.
Right. At any point, right, they could all just walk away.
Yeah.
Leave the cube in the house, walk away. We're done.
Yeah. So like from this point, I understand because now she wants to resurrect her brother. Up until that, she got that plan though. Her knowledge, well, I guess she seemed to think figuring out the box will somehow let her know what happened to her brother. But I don't know how she made that logical leap. Doesn't matter.
No, she was never trying to solve the box. It just kept accidentally cutting people and doing what it did. And it kept changing its shape after it would kill someone.
But figuring out the history of the box would help her figure out what happened to her brother. That was her driving motivation before she decided to resurrect her brother.
Oh, I thought she was just at Voight's place to find out what the fuck the box was.
No, before that, she's trying to find her brother because she doesn't know that her brother's dead. Then when she learns all about the Cenobites, she decides, I need to resurrect my brother.
Cool. And the only reason Colin and Nora would hang around is because they haven't been given the full story yet.
Well, and we just need some red shirts.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to die in this movie.
That's true.
So as any good horror movie, they all split up.
Well, let's see. So it's Trevor and Nora. They're hanging out in the main like lobby, messing with the switches, right?
The lounge.
Yeah, and Nora somehow switches the panel that has the wall flip open, and then
Trevor leaves because he goes, let's see what they got in this place, and pulls out the booze. And Nora goes, we don't drink in front of Riley. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom then. Takes the bottle of booze. So he goes to the bathroom to drink. Classic party guy.
a lot of rooms here. Why did he go to the bathroom?
Yeah, also Riley wasn't there, so
Right.
Yeah.
he could have drank right there and not because Riley is with Colin.
I think he was trying to be respectful because he knew Nora was uneasy with him drinking in a situation where Riley was around. But anyway, so he absconds to the bathroom to get himself drunk as shit. And then Nora starts flipping switches, as one does in a giant abandoned mansion in the middle of the night. And she opens a secret door that goes into the walls of the mansion, because you don't get a mansion without having secret walls.
No. You do not build a mansion without secret passageways.
Thank you, H.H. Holmes, for setting the standard of secret passageways.
You get a discount with the construction if you put them in.
You get the
much
H.H.
easier.
Holmes discount.
Think of all the wiring that man needed to run to get all this to work. Okay, with the passageways,
He's got the money.
I know, but the wiring is much easier with secret passageways. You just run it
that's
along
true.
the walls of the passageway.
Good point.
Yeah, no problem. I'm an engineer, so secret passage engineer. I got my certifications.
Well, speaking of smart people, Nora goes into the secret passage into the wall.
Well, it feels like it was very Scuba
Step
Doo-esque.
two. Never go into a secret passage in an abandoned mansion.
No. And it closes shut, and she's locked in this corridor with no lights, and she's like, darn it.
Yeah, gee,
And
Willikers.
We do need to mention she's holding the cube, I believe.
Yes, for some reason, she has the cube.
Yeah.
Because she needs to. So Trevor, she's like, Trevor, come save me. So Trevor runs out and he flips like every switch except the one that he needs to switch.
Well, she heard someone walking around in the hallways.
Yeah.
She heard something and she looked back and sees something and it starts chasing her. And she's like, what the fucking fuck?
She's like, get me out of here.
She's banging on the door. Trevor's trying to get the corridor open.
And all he can do is play
music.
music very loudly. Like 7 of those 10 switches are music switches.
And she gets stabbed in the back with a cube.
Yes.
Yes, because she drops the cube in the hallway. It gets picked up by whoever was in the hallway with her.
And just to clarify, listeners, it is no longer cube shaped. We just refer to it
Right.
as the cube.
Yes.
It's like 2 triangles touching each other. The base of 2 triangles touching each other right now.
We just lost our geometry game hard.
Configuration 4 for all my my pinheads out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I only took 10th grade geometry. 2 triangles back to back. That's got to be college geometry.
Almost like a diamond.
so they
Yes. They didn't teach me that in the 10th grade.
they start flipping switches because they're going to get that thing open for Nora. And they finally open the doors and they end up all stumbling into the museum room from earlier in the movie where the cube was originally at.
On display.
Yes.
Yeah, and that cube is still stabbed in poor Nora's back.
Oh,
like
it's-
it looked like it hit her right in the spine, but I guess it couldn't have. But
She's like, my back. And they like roll her over and like, holy shit.
And it's funny because at this point, Riley's like, no one touch it. Because Riley knows something's up with this cube. She knows this cube is the key to some shit. And then Trevor's like, no, check this out. I got this. And just yanks it right out of her back. She starts bleeding.
yeah, just shooting blood like 12 feet in the air, like the Yosemite of blood. And they're like, all right, we got to get her out of here. Duh. You probably could have started by leaving. We know why Trevor did it. But point is, now it's like an emergency. So they're bringing her into the van and they start driving and they can't get out of this place. They're arguing. They're like,
Lost in the woods.
yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the only good scene in Friday 6 when the kid's opening up the map and it just keeps becoming, and he
yeah.
goes, well, the map says we're fucked.
You mean Nightmare?
Nightmare,
yes.
Nightmare 6. I said Freddy 6, right?
You said Friday.
Friday, Freddy, Nightmare 6. Don't watch it. It's terrible, but it has one good scene. And this movie reminded me of it.
Now, and the reason we find out they're lost is because as they're driving this van away from the, because Nora's been stabbed. So at this point, you know, the choice has been made. She's going to be sacrificed to the Cenobites, the Leviathan, all that fun stuff. As they're driving, we see the road below the van. Like as they pass, the road starts reconfiguring in that, like the way the world kind of refigures box wise, like we've seen when the Cenobites are able to come out. So we now realize that it's not isolated just to the area where you got stabbed or whatever. This will follow you wherever you are. So the road is reconfiguring. And so they're quote unquote lost, but the road has reconfigured so they can't get away.
Yeah.
And as they're driving away, Nora's in the back of the van. Everyone's in the front arguing about how the hell they're going to get out of here. The van starts reconfiguring and becoming like a long
Yeah, it
hallway.
stretches.
This is my favorite effect in the movie.
Dude, this whole
I
scene
thought it was
is
fantastic.
the best one.
Because
And
you
as-
see the front seats with the driver, Riley and Trevor are arguing, but it's getting further and further
Yeah.
away from the camera and
quieter,
blackness.
too. Yeah.
Just covered in blackness, but it gets smaller and smaller. And look behind her, and it's happening with the back windows of the van too. And then it turns into a corridor. And now she's like wherever the other plane is, where
Yeah,
they
she's
exist.
the alternate,
Yeah.
world.
Possibly inside the box.
I think it's inside the Leviathan. I think this world exists inside the Leviathan. I think the world reconfigures.
You just really want people to live in this box, don't you?
I think you're right. It probably is the Leviathan.
But she gets hit with the chains, and she gets suspended up, and then out walk our.
She starts praying.
Yeah.
She starts praying like the Lord's Prayer, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Pinhead bends her backwards and goes, "Tell me, child, what do you pray for?"
This is the first time we get to hear Pinhead really speak. Like we've heard her whisper and say some shit in like the off camera and stuff, but this is where we like see her actually talking, and she's got this really cool kind of like male, female, masculine, feminine, like ethereal voice that all comes out at once. Man, it was really cool effect.
Yeah, and I know they call her the female Pinhead, but I don't really see gender in these Cenobites.
no.
No, that's
know what I mean?
The priest.
Yeah.
You know.
So if people are upset about a female playing Pinhead, then you shouldn't be, because you're missing the point.
Is that
Yeah.
something people were upset about?
Oh,
I
yeah.
just assume, because they always are, right?
Yeah, people were upset about that. But if you watch this movie and walked away thinking this was anything but an exceptional performance, and I don't know what to tell you, you're a dum-dum.
Yeah.
Sure. So Pinhead takes out one of the long pins from the middle of her head. head and then starts jabbing it through her neck.
Is that the first time we've seen the pins come out of?
No, he's pulled pins out.
Oh, he's pulled
before.
out. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I couldn't remember, and I was like, "Is this the first time we've seen this?"
So yeah, and you get a view from inside her throat of the pin coming across, and
What is it you pray for?
Salvation.
And what did it feel like? A joyful note. There's no music in that. There is so much more the body can be made to feel. And you'll feel it all before we're through.
And then she just
the chains pull
screams
her.
and explodes,
Yeah.
right? And then back in the van, now there's just like some blood on the floor of the van.
Yep.
And everybody's like, where the fuck did Nora go? And Trevor crashes the van.
Yes.
And now they got to hoof it back.
I don't think it was on purpose that Trevor crashed.
No,
Yes.
I think this was an accident. But yes, he crashes the van and being startled. And they're like, we're going to go back and find her. And it's like, bro, what are
Find
you
her,
talking
yes.
about? Trevor, we're not going to find her. So we'll call the cops. They'll show up and find her. Like, no, dude.
She didn't roll out the back of the van, bro.
And while Trevor and Colin are arguing about it, Riley grabs the cube and hightails it for a bridge.
Yep, she's finally going to throw it out. Oh, she's like, I'm going to get rid of this thing.
She's like, I've done the breaking point. And right when she's about to throw the cube over, it goes, wait, right? Or the pinhead starts talking to her.
Yes. Yep. She's
Don't
like,
throw it.
You started this. You have to finish it. We will not be denied. And then Pinhead fucking cheats.
Yeah.
Because they cause the box to shoot out the knife, even though Riley hasn't solved it, and it stabs Riley. And now she's the Pinhead.
Well, this plays into like the previous Hellraisers as well, because the thing is, whoever first like unlocks the cube is marked. Like, you belong to the Cenobites at that point. This whole doing 6 sacrifices thing, I think that's new for this story. Because I don't remember that being the case.
No,
with
yeah,
the
this
other
is
ones.
new.
But like when you solve the puzzle, even like, first time, finger it a little bit,
Well-
and boom, make it pop. Like, you're marked. Like, you're the Cenobites
Well,
at that
it's
point.
less
So
that you're
she
you're
says-
dead, right?
Well-
In the previous versions, when you open the box, you were killed,
Well, you're marked by the Cenobites for their pleasures, the sights they're going to show you.
which is death, or they're going to turn you into a cube, or a blood.
There's a lot of
splatter.
options here, baby. Okay?
Mostly death. Most of these options involve death. It happens to you. You don't get to use the cube
So-
to do other stuff.
Yeah,
However, this
so-
time around, Pinhead says, if not your blood, then another.
Well, she said,
and she said that
"You're
multiple
marked."
times.
Yeah, she said, you're marked and you're ours. So it's either you or someone else. And then that's when, this is the best line in the whole movie. She goes, who are you? And their response was, we're explorers in the further regions of experience on sensation's rim. And I was like, whoever wrote that needs a pay bump. That was fucking great. Like, the way she delivered that line was so good.
Pretty sure it was Clive Barker,
Yeah,
because
he
I think
wrote
that
that
was in
too.
the first movie.
Okay, well, cool.
Yeah.
Give that guy $20. Send him some Venmo. Everybody Venmo Clive Barker $20. And
I'm sure he
we'll
was
be good.
paid
Yeah,
for this one, too.
But yeah, so this is
Still,
where
tremendous line. Though,
This
I
is
agree.
where Riley realizes, like, okay, I can't throw the box away. I've got to either it's me or them at this point. And I think at this point she's like, okay, it'll be me.
Yeah, she's freaking out. And as they're stumbling back to the house, she looks at Colin and goes, I won't let it be you. I promise I won't let it be
right,
you.
because now Colin and Trevor can see the Cenobites.
Yes.
Before, previously, they couldn't. Now everyone could see them. They're like, oh, what the fuck is that? They run into the house.
Well, they get to the courtyard and the gates are shut. And then they have to like volley over there to get back to the
Yes.
house. And while that's happening, all the Cenobites are starting to gather and chase them down.
That one
And
is chasing Colin, and you're like, holy shit, it's going to eat Colin.
It's coming
And
his
Chatterer.
direction, but it walks right by him and is going straight for Riley because that's the mark.
Yep.
So Chatterer breaks through the gate with relative ease and then pins her and Trevor against the side of the brick wall.
Like the opposite side, the gate swings full open, and they're pinned between the gate and the
Yeah.
wall behind it.
And he catches Trevor's knee and it's squishing it real good. And he's in a lot of pain and Chatterer's face is up in his face.
It's so
and
good.
So Trevor pushes Chatterer's face back, and then Chatterer just bites a chunk out of Trevor's arm at this point.
Which I was happy to see Chatterer finally use them damn teeth.
Yes.
Instead of just walking around clicking his teeth like in the old ones, like we see some actual
Like a
action.
twist up
Mom, look
toy.
what I can do.
You're right. It's like one of the little mouth toys you'd wind up and bounce around on
The
feet.
chattering teeth.
Yes, if you will. And then Riley stabs Chatterer with the box, and he stops Chattering, backs up, chain shootout, and they just rip him apart, and there goes Chatterer.
And it's like, aha, we can fool the game too. We can, put our hand on the scales, so to speak.
And this moment was really great because when Riley stabs Chatterer, it was kind of like a split-second decision of like, I'll use the box to stab him. Let's see what happens. The priestess, Lady Pinhead, sees this happen and then smirks. Like she smiles like, oh, that's clever. Like she respects the fucking game. Like she wasn't even upset that like, oh, I lost a Cenobite or I have to kill the Cenobite now. She was like, okay, well played, Riley. I see what you're doing here. And but that little smirk that she gave, I was like, that's so creepy. But yeah, then Chatterer gets ripped apart and everyone gets blood splattered. And they're going to run inside the house. And this is where they realize that the ornate construction fences around the
scaffolding
house are actually like a protectant, like the design on them keeps the Cenobites out. They can't come in. Which leads me to a question real quick, you guys. We've never seen, I don't think we've ever seen, well, maybe we have, a Cenobite pick up the box. Because of the designs on this stuff out, the fencing outside the house, and inside the cages that Voight built, it looks just like the box designs. So are the Cenobites not allowed to touch the box?
I feel like I've seen Pinhead hold the box.
He is holding the box on the cover of the movie.
Well, covers never lie. In this one, I wonder if they can't touch the box just because they never pick it up either. When it falls on the ground, none of the Cenobites ever go grab the box. It's just laying around. They're always just going after people and stuff.
I wonder.
Like that.
I guess it's a mix. I think you're right, and it does make a lot of sense because it does look like the scaffolding. But also, I guess they don't give a shit about the box. They're on a mission.
It could be. We don't know with the remake. Maybe
I could
that is
see
the
Deleted
story.
scene, maybe.
Yeah.
Deleted scene.
Yeah. You throw the box at one now and see what happens.
So they run inside, they close the gates, and now all of
Trevor's like bleeding out, but I couldn't tell if it was a gag or if he was like playing it up to be
No, he
worse
was
than
really
it was.
Arm has been like his whole
Because later on
forearm
he
is,
gets up and walks around.
This
Adrenaline,
is
baby.
hands down my least favorite part of the movie. So they put a tourniquet on Trevor, right? And here's the thing. That is not like magic. You're going to lose that arm. The reason he's not bleeding is because all blood has stopped going to his arm. But after they put that tourniquet on, he is totally healed. Like it's like he's like the Doom guy eating some pills, just ready to go. It is ridiculous.
Pretty close, but yeah.
That's like such a minor complaint speaks to how good this movie is. But I was like, come on, y'all.
So they concoct a plan, right? After Riley's like, we'll just sit in here. We're safe at keeping him out. And Colin's like, we can't stay here forever. Your boyfriend is over there dying.
Also, just in general, they can't stay there forever. So
True. So they're like, what we'll do is we'll lure one of them in and we'll trap it and we'll sacrifice it for the next configuration change. But in the meantime, old Voight comes out.
This is where we first reveal that Voight is still alive. We've seen something walking around in the house, but we didn't know what it was. This is the first time we've actually seen Voight is still alive, and he comes out and he talks to Colin.
And you see the
Trevor. I'm sorry, Trevor.
Right, and you see him come out, and he grabs Trevor by the face, which is a very abrupt way to wake somebody up. He's like, I told you this should have been done by now. And he's like, what are you talking about? Look, it went a little sideways, but Riley basically took the reins and is feeding the box. Don't worry, we're going to get there. We're still going to get to point B from point A.
he is very worked up considering 5 of 6 is pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I thought he was doing all right for a loser like Trevor, But he's like, don't you understand? And he like points at the contraption that
it's
is
like
on
a
his
steampunk.
It's almost like strings being pulled in like a lever or a pulley system through his body.
And it's his nerves.
No, it's his nervous system.
Right.
Yeah.
So like it's just like holy shit. And I think he accepted the treasure or the reward of sensation.
Yes.
So what the Cenobites have done now is given him a device that at random they will pull the strings of his nerves through his body just randomly, and you can.
It's like a loom. It's like a loom, and there's like his nervous system looks like yarn being like just like funneled into this like like spindle type contraction that's like pulling out his nervous system slowly and like wrapping it up in a little. It's so creepy. But yeah, it's like this giant metal like key thing in his chest, like sticking through.
Yeah, and he's like, "Look, Trevor, every moment of this is an eternity. I need this off of me now."
Why would anyone pick Sensation? What a trap. That is the most monkey paw of them all. They're all a monkey paw, but that one just screams like this one's going to be bad.
Are you saying you think Voight would have known a little bit about what he was getting into before he got to that point?
Look, my man was bored with giant sex parties, okay? He's looking for the next thrill.
He also had the detailed book that told him every configuration.
Well, I wonder if he wrote that before or after.
Well, he knew enough to build that scaffolding, so he had some details.
True.
That's a good point.
True.
He should have known better not to fuck with this at all. Yeah. Go back to the sex dungeon, man.
Anybody who has their neck ripped open in like a vagina type shape and is talking and it's like vibrating and stuff like that, I see that. I'm not going to be like, this person has my best interest in heart.
Yeah, seems trustworthy.
I'm sorry. When you're wearing your skin as a bodysuit that's been ripped up and pulled and like weaved together, you know, I'm going to be like, this person probably is on the same level as me here. But maybe that's what he wanted, though. Maybe he was like, yo, let's try this out. Let's try this like skin suit shit out. And maybe he thought he was going to get that, but instead he got the nervous system loom.
I think you need to start networking at the tattoo parlors and the suspension pierce place, and then you can find your way into a group of friends that have the same ideas as you. You know, you don't got to go to a hell priest.
With that kind of money, you could have someone basically just cut you up.
Yeah,
that's true too.
Done and done, probably safely and with
surgical precision.
Yes. Thank you.
Nice save.
Like a surgeon.
So he's like, all right, one more to go. Fucking make it happen, right? So they open the gate and Riley goes out and goes like, Buzz, I'm looking through all your stuff. You better come out and pound me. Like, lures one of the Cenobites in, and it's one that's got the skin over the face. Now, is this the Ace Fix?
Yeah, this is Ace Fix, or Wheezy, as I like to call them.
Yeah, at first they were like, we're not falling for your stupid trap. Because they open the gate and they all just stand there and look at her. She's
right.
like,
Yeah, they've got her kind of surrounded, and they're all like, what's the play here? But the one with the one that looks like almost mechanical in a way, like her hands, like from the middle finger to ring finger, split apart. And now she's got like 4 little mini hands on each side. And it's like
such a gross effect. It's so I love it.
Yes.
I thought it looked so awesome.
Yeah.
So that's Ace Fix runs in. It doesn't run. It walks in and it kind of looks at him,
shuffling like a weird kind of Silent Hill shuffle after her.
It looks at him a little bit, and then it just bolts right
fast
at Riley and chases her down the hall, and she drops the cube and gets cornered in a back room.
Well, this is actually really cool when it starts chasing him, because like its arms, like it looks like it has like a straight jacket, like trash bag holding its arms behind its back. Like it's like tied up in like a bag type situation, and it's its skin. Before it starts chasing Riley and Colin, like it rips that skin apart. Like it busts out of its like
you haven't seen my
bondage.
Yes, it's bondage. Exactly. Thank you. Good. Thank you for helping me with that one. And then it starts just like bolting, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Because they're forced like a little shuffle. Like, we got this. We got this. And then it's like snap, free, run. They're like, "Oh shit!" And Riley runs straight into a fucking concrete pillar.
So dumb.
As she's running, drops the cube, and then manages to get in a room as some switches are being flipped, and it traps the Ace Fix Cenobite in the gate. Like it's like a bear caught in a trap. It's like halfway through.
And he's the whole time that thing is trying to get at her. He's like a zombie almost.
So
Pretty
much
impressive.
so that it splits the skin on its face
Yes.
open, and then it's just like an open maw.
You realize underneath that skin is just like a skinless face.
But when it does switch in the aerodynamic mode, it was like, you haven't even seen my final form. Like,
Pretty
it
much.
breaks out, man. It was awesome.
And Trevor's laying on the ground like, Riley, you good? She's like, I think so. And then Colin's like, why don't you just kill it? And they're like, I dropped the cube. It's out there where you are. So he's looking around for it.
Cube.
He's like, where is it? I don't see it. And Trevor looks at one of the secret passages that's been opened up. And then from out of nowhere, Voight comes up and stabs Colin in the chest with the blade in the cube, and then goes up.
Slices him up the chest.
Which sounds worse than it is, though, because it does not kill him.
No, you think that would open up enough for guts to fall
looked
out.
like the chest was just going to basically like
Spill out.
open up like in the thing, like John Carpenter's that thing. But like, no, he just like goes to the ground. And he's like, I've been cut. They're like, damn it, bro.
One thing that was really dumb, I assume it's there for like cinema sins reasons, is when she drops the cube, we do see Voight's hand just like take it. There's like a split scene of
I
him
didn't
taking
see
the
that.
cube.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
I missed that
I was
too.
like, so dumb. But it's there so that people like us don't go, how do you get the cube?
Right.
Oh, I thought it was gone, and I was like, well, Voight's got that.
I just
too.
assumed.
Yeah.
Right. Trevor's laying on the ground. He's like, you didn't have to do that.
We had a plan.
And I was like, wait, why the fuck do you care, Trevor? Like, you're letting everyone else get sacrificed for this payday. Why did you care about Colin all of a sudden?
Well, I think he does care about this group of people. He does. Like, I think he was not enough to give up the payday, as we see.
About to say, because the whole thing, other people, Nora and Matt and all of them have been fucked up by the Cenobite cube.
Well, I don't think he
and he's
knew
just
about
like,
Matt.
I think he's having a little sympathy for this group, right? I led them in. I'm fucking them up. Dude, you didn't need to have that one too. We already had the plan.
Great time for it.
Well, because he
Right.
could have killed the one Cenobite that was just as close.
Oh, maybe because he now knows you can use the Cenobites as a sacrifice.
Yeah. So he's like, well, doesn't matter.
Voight
Yeah, Voight
he's
goes,
like,
does
blood's
not
a blood.
matter.
Yeah, Voight's like, finally, we have the final configuration.
And this is where we get the twist, by the way, because Riley's like, how do you know him?
The double cross is revealed.
Yeah, and Voight's like, you mean this fucking dude? Yeah, he's been on my payroll the whole time, and he's going to keep being on my payroll. Watch this. Go ahead and open the gates. And he does. And so Riley's like, Colin, you have to run. Get out of here. And Colin's like, my whole sternum's ripped, bitch. No, he's like, okay. He gets up and he starts running.
Decides to run downstairs into the basement of the
Yes.
sex dungeon. That's how to get out.
And some Cenobites start chasing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Trevor like really
He's been marked.
half-assedly tries
Again,
to
he's
get
the
him.
next one marked by the
Yeah,
cube,
I think it's
so.
the one that has the arc of skin above her
Yes.
head.
Yeah.
And her whole thing seems to be like wires, like fence wires, not barbed wire, but
piano
like
wire.
yeah,
like
metal
garrote wire, basically like
Say a Rottweiler.
Garrot.
garrote.
Okay.
What happens to poor Colin, man? Oof.
When that wire like rips into his forearms, like almost down to the bone, I was like, yo, you ain't healing from that easy.
I know he might survive. So spoiler for 5 minutes from now, he survives, but I don't know that he's going to have a happy life after all.
Honestly,
that damage.
as much nerve damage is going to happen with that wire cutting almost to the bone on like multiple areas of your arm, you may not be able to use those arms.
It's
again.
not just his arm though; it's his
legs.
entire
I know.
body.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in
Yeah.
the arms, you see it like actually like tighten up and it like sinks into the skin like super deep. And you're like, there's some damage here.
How's he going to explain that when he goes to the hospital? I got really caught. I fell in a grand
Well,
piano.
you see what had happened was.
I tumbled into a wire fence at a chicken coop.
Yeah.
So that's going on downstairs.
Voight's like, open the gate, let them in. Trevor pops the last lever that opens the gate, and in walks the Hell Priestess. And right when she gets into the corridor that's about to lead in the room they're all in, he flips it shut again. Boom. Now we got Pinhead trapped.
That's right. Voight traps all the Cenobites, or most of the Cenobites, in the little gate doors and stuff like that. And he's like, do you think this is just a fancy house? No, this is a cage. You fuck me over and I'm going to trap your priestesses and you're going to basically do what I want you. He's going to try to blackmail the Leviathan at this point.
He's like, take back your fucking gift. I don't want it anymore. It sucks. He's like, you deny our gift? It's like, yes, it sucks like a lot.
You call this a gift? And she's like, well, once certain thresholds have crossed, there's no uncrossing them.
Which is the only way to get out of that threshold is to find further thresholds. And I was
to go
like,
up.
yo, you can only go deeper into this. That's crazy.
And she's like, there's no takesy backsies. There's only exchanges here at the Hellraiser Mart.
Once you check in, you can never check out. So while they're having this conversation, Riley sneaks up and steals the box and runs to go save Colin.
So they head downstairs, and while Colin is being suspended with this wire and screaming in pain, she looks at the Cenobite and goes, you said I got to choose. And he's like, the choice is made. And she's like, no, not him.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
She's very close. She goes,
Vagina next Cenobite is like, I already got it. I'm
Yeah,
good.
we good.
almost like a Cenobite smartass, right? Because Riley goes, I didn't choose him. And she goes, and yet he was chosen. Like,
Yeah,
damn.
that was a great delivery.
Yeah, she says, not him. And then Trevor's kind of like, what are you doing, Riley? And how do they get in the kerfuffle that ends him stabbed in the gut?
I think she just stabs him.
She turns around and she's like,
Oh,
she's
he
like,
tries to take it from
yeah.
her.
yeah, because she goes, well, I'm going to make a choice. And then Tyler's like, what are you doing, Riley? And she like turns around and looks at him. He's like, no, Riley, just give me the box. And he goes for it. And then she just stabs him in the gut. And she's like, the
Right.
choice is made.
And then he gets to replace
Colin.
where he's like on top of a table. It's like a cover of like a well.
Yeah.
It looks like a
something
well
that.
or something like that.
It's an
Your
altar
classic
of some kind.
inside mansion well.
Yeah. So that Cenobite releases Colin, and then the wires go and grab poor old Trevor. And man, the one that wraps around his arm and slides the skin straight off the muscle was like, holy
they glove
shit.
him. Like they use the wire to like just basically like slide underneath the skin and just like take his skin right
Yeah,
off.
and the wires wrap around his forehead, his mouth, his neck.
It's
and
just
then
deskinning him.
And at some point, you just see that tabletop on top of the well just crush, and he just sunk straight into the well.
Into a bottomless pit, and I was
Yeah.
like, of course. I was like, maybe Cenobite World has this. Okay, I'll give it to you. But yeah, that was a little bit cheesy.
He just falls forever like Alice in Wonderland, you know?
Yeah, that's right. So I guess they rush back upstairs.
Yes. Also, they unswitch the gates so that Pinhead can be face to face with Voight. And Voight's like, "What are you doing? This is crazy. Hello, I'm supposed to be the bad guy here." And Pinhead's like, "Calm your nuts. Here's the deal. Obviously, sensation is not for you because you're a little bitch. So, what you seem to like is power." And Voight's like, "Okay, I could get behind that." And they yank him
Because she
ass up.
said, she's like, you've always done these things for quote unquote sensation, but really what you've been doing is just trying to control and be
Right.
powerful. And she's like, so maybe you want power instead. And he's like, yeah, power, that's the ticket.
Anything's better than this, is what he literally
Yes.
says. And then the contraption falls off of his
Why
body.
would you say that? At this point, you know, like you got your monkey pawed chest,
Yeah.
you know, like nervous
So
system
dumb.
tendrils.
Yeah.
Like just assume anything, like anything's better than this. No, bro.
They're probably all
No.
equally bad.
Yeah, or worse. This might be the least bad option. You don't know.
They got
Right.
nothing to do in their spare time except for think of things worse than this.
Yeah, so the contraption falls off and you see him from the back. His back is open and the spine is gone. It's literally a hole through
Yeah.
his body, and you watch it all refiber
up.
together and reattach, and then he's made whole and he's like, "Holy shit, yay!" But immediately after
back,
he goes,
baby.
it's immediately as he goes, "Yay!" a fucking giant harpoon chain comes from the sky and goes kaplunk straight into his body and starts lifting him up to the ceiling.
And one thing we didn't mention real quick is the moment the Cenobites get in and get trapped, the Leviathan, the large shape, extends from the sky and is actually hovering above the
Mansion.
mansion.
And if you're
But-
confused when we say Leviathan, think of a giant black diamond floating in the sky with lightning. And I thought the sound effects of the thunder and stuff sounded
Tremendous.
great.
Yeah.
We didn't mention also once the final body is given to the device, the cube, all the blood starts spilling out from the top of the Leviathan cube up to the ceiling and splattering against the skylight.
Yeah, like gravity's in reverse when the blood starts like dripping upwards into the skylight. That summons the Leviathan. So the Leviathan's present as the rest of these scenes that we just described play out. So yeah, the chain shoots out of the Leviathan itself right through Voight and starts pulling him up to the Leviathan.
Right. And he goes off into a glowing bluish white light, and then that's it for now. Mm-hmm. We'll revisit him in just a moment. So finally, we come back in
Riley and
the
Colin.
main room where the priestess Pinhead is there and is like, "What is your gift that you want?"
Because she did all 6 configurations, all 6 sacrifices.
Right.
Now she gets her monkey's paw wish.
So Riley gets her reward,
pick your poison.
and she goes, "I don't want none."
Yeah, she's like, "I've seen your gifts. They all suck."
And she's like, well, don't you want to bring your brother back?
And she like brings the brother back, like, and she's like, "Riley, save me!" And she is one of the smartest characters I've ever seen in a movie. Go, "That's not my brother. That's some bullshit hologram thing."
Right.
Like, she's like, "You can't trick me." And so Pinhead then tries the good old fashioned guilt. She's like, "Okay, so think about all the people that
The
died."
old-fashioned guilt trip.
Yeah, all of those people whose lives you ruined for nothing. You think I have suffering for you? You don't even know suffering because you're going to feel guilty about this for your whole life. You've chosen the lament configuration. Dun, dun, dun.
She turns away, looks back, and they're gone. And the cube is in its original cube shape.
Which is the lament configuration.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because each one of those shapes is a different configuration. And I think what we're trying to understand is like every single thing you choose comes with some kind of painful, like,
Yeah.
you know, like outcome that comes along with it. Almost like the knowledge and the knowing of basically making people suffer and being alive with that knowledge and knowing that life sucks is almost like the pain and torment you get from that. And I was like, wow, that's kind of a downer.
It's true, but I got to tell you, that'd be the one I'd pick.
Same.
Really?
After
think
all
so?
you saw?
You think so? You'd pick that one?
You're going to take getting your nerves pulled every 7 seconds?
It seems to be the
Forever? There is no death.
That's
You're already
only,
dead.
It's only one of 6, you guys. Only one of
Look,
6.
survivor's guilt is a thing. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can work through that. We've got some therapies. I'm sure it's miserable.
She's got pills.
But you know what's less miserable? It's probably less miserable than any of those other options.
You know what Riley could say is like, "I didn't do that. The Cenobites did."
Well, that's deflection.
but it's partially true.
It was poor decision making by Riley that put us in this situation.
Actually, you can
Take
blame it on
responsibility
Trevor.
for your reactions.
Actually, you can blame it on Voight. You see where I'm going with this?
I
There's
see
no
what
way.
you're saying.
You don't have to stop with you. Like you were
You
put
can
into
push
this
the
rat
chips
trap.
further and further down.
Right.
Why would somebody even make this box? Well, go watch 4 and you'll find out.
It's made in space.
Man, I should go rewatch that one.
Well, let's finish the movie. So we've
us home,
got
Mark.
Voight now in this ethereal plane where he has been shaved and baby powdered white.
Shaved and a haircut.
And he's like, oh man, what is going on right now? And he's laying on what almost looks like a crucifix.
Yeah. And this movie does not shy away from full frontal male nudity.
Nope. We get a shot of the Johnson as we camera up to his face and go to his eyes.
We've got Sack.
You start to see the transmogrification occur. His skin starts flaying and splitting and getting tied into weaves, just like we saw before. His leg muscles are on full display. His genitals are gone.
Well, they get folded up.
And then there's like a black plug that I noticed was put into place.
I assume they just retreated. They're like, we want no part of this.
Right back up inside. And then his face, his cheeks splay outward and wrap around these bars.
Well, with the top and bottom of your lip meet, like a strip of flesh gets like just pulled back. Like you're like pulling off like one of those like envelope. Like you get the FedEx, you just pull off it to open it. Like it gets pulled back and like stretched out. So his like cheeks have been ripped open on the sides.
So is he going to be new Chatterer?
I thought he was going to be new Doctor. Remember the Doctor from part
He's the new Leviathan. He's the new embodiment of the Leviathan. Because the priestess, Lady Pinhead was just like, oh, you want more than just, a life of servitude. You want to be the biggest and the best, the most powerful. And I think they're like, yeah, we need a new body for that.
I wonder how you become a Cenobite then. Which one of the configurations is Cenobite configuration?
I think it's just kind of like they see something special in you.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to get chosen.
You don't call them, they'll call you.
Right.
All right.
Send us your resume. We'll keep it when there's a opening available.
Okay.
But yeah, and then you watch him, the wings of the crucifix open up, and then you see him in his full Cenobitic glory.
He seems to be enjoying himself.
Or at least he's got a lot going on in his mind right now. A lot to process.
And we keep cutting to like the this like really trippy kind of like whitish blue like effect on the screen, which is supposed to be like the higher being that's inside the Leviathan, like this ultimate power, which is very reminiscent of the Clive Barker stories. Like he talks about that kind of stuff. So I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, he's basically like, that's why he's happy. It's like meeting your God and being like, okay, you're making me an angel.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Well, that's Hellraiser 2022. I would highly recommend it. I think it is, like John said earlier, probably the third, if not the second best of the bunch.
I'm going to say second best Hellraiser.
Yeah, I think it beats out Hellbound.
I like Hellbound because of the lore and what we see and stuff. And also that's that one scene alone where you see Frank with no fucking skin. It's like, help me, I'm in hell.
Yeah.
That's fucking iconic. I love that. So I don't know. Honestly,
Two's got a bunch of dirty mattresses.
let's not forget, part 1 is very boring, you guys.
That is true.
I
It is
say
so boring.
Hellraiser 2, and then this one. I put this above the original.
You would.
Yes, sir.
You know,
I know that's
I
kind
would
of
say
controversial, but like this, for an original introduction to the Cenobites, the box, and the lore, this was a much more entertaining, much more like visually like, spectacular like presentation than the very first Hellraiser. I know it's classic, but let's be honest. Sometimes you can do it better. Texas Chainsaw Remake.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm with you, but my favorite one, and one if I were to put one on, will always be 3.
Why? 3 is so bad. Oh, we also did see the block with the body parts from part 3. It was in a hallway and like at one point.
The totem, whatever the totem is that spins. I don't know, guys. The first one's still too good for me. I love the traveling of getting Frank's skin. Like that is just such a fun story.
The first one has some cool moments, but Garrett is right. I mean, it's spread with a lot of really boring shit. You have to pay a lot. You know what? It's almost like a meta movie. You have to suffer a lot for some of the greatest
I don't know if I'd
parts.
say suffer, but you definitely have
dramatic.
to. Yeah.
Well, Doug Bradley weighed in and he said on a tweet, I'm a bit blown away by this. The clever redesign of the makeup, the shimmer of the pinheads, the palette, whatever the keyhole locket tracheotomy thing is at the throat, it's simple, subtle, disturbing, and sexy. Everything it should be. Peace and pain, Doug.
So Doug would fuck a Cenobite.
Clearly. And he gave his thumbs up. Yeah. So if you're on the fence about checking out this new one, don't. It's a good movie.
What are you doing? Go watch it.
Definitely go watch it. And, hit us up on the social media. Let us know if you'd fuck a Cenobite. I mean, it's just that simple. We'll do a poll.
Yeah, Garrett wants to find like-minded people like himself that would fuck people with skin
really
falling off the body.
A poll that says,
I'm gonna
would
say-
you fuck a Cenobite? 'Cause
I'm
I'll
sure
just
you could probably word it a
straight
little-
up on Twitter right now.
You could word it a little better.
Okay.
Would you make love? Would you make sweet, passionate
Would you
love?
get freaky with a Cenobite?
I got it. Do you fancy a Cenobite?
Oh, okay. Would you make whoopee?
Well, listeners, what did you think about Hellraiser 2022? Why don't you let us know on our social media? We got a Twitter, an Instagram, a Facebook. You can find everything we're up to at thegravetalk.com. Coming soon, a TikTok. We'll see. I kind of like just plugging the thing that will never exist.
Yes. We'll tick your talks one day. Don't worry.
Yeah. What are we doing next time, Garrett?
The next movie we're doing is the 1985 monster flick Ghoulies.
Ghoulies, yes. The VHS cover that was most memorable to me as a kid, walking through the aisles. The little monster poking its head out of the toilet.
I thought you said pooping its head out of a
I
toilet.
did as well.
Pooping, poking, whatever.
I love that.
They
No,
both work.
That cover always caught my eye, too. You could never not see it.
Yeah, it was great.
Was there a lenticular cover for that, or was that part 2?
Yeah, everything had a lenticular in the 80s, man, so I'm sure it did.
It could be anything. So, yeah, Ghoulies is the next movie, and then after that, we'll figure out what we're going to do then.
Okay, well, listeners, you've got your homework. Go watch Ghoulies. If you make it to Ghoulies 3, they go to college.
How many ghoulies are there?
3.
Is it just 3?
I think there's only 3.
Okay, so I get it. Like most of us, they graduate college, hit the workplace, and kind of.
Well, Matthew Illard is in part 3.
Right.
He goes to college with them.
Look, I'll do my homework as the listeners do their homework, and we'll come back next time for Ghoulies.
Love it.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you then.